Jessica Creel the centres, Kirtley Aronson, Cheslin Colby, Apolele Fassi make up a dynamic back three. Listen to the noise round Twickenham. 82,000 fans expecting a tumultuous contest as Andrew Brace tells Marcus Smith, let's go to work, and it's taken in by the indomitable figure of the double World Cup winner, Pieter-Steph du Toit, a man who has terrorised England when it's mattered the most that night in Yokohama back in 2019. Grant Williams kicks a tiny bit too far. Freddie Stewart takes to the air and takes it cleanly. The first rendition of Swing Low Sweet Chariot round Twickenham. How are England going to go about things tactically? Can they get caught in an arm wrestle? Can they afford to get caught in an arm wrestle? Van Poortvliet is almost trapped. He just about gets away, but his platform for kicking wasn't there, so he sets it up, and now Martin thunders up for England, just short of the halfway line. Use it as the instruction from referee Brace. Van Poortvliet obliges, pops a box kick up that goes high but not very far. Freeman half gets to it. Back in English possession. There's been a knock on by the Springboks. England will get the scrum, which normally, Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton, is good news. It's just always a bit different when you're playing South Africa.
Does, it's such a tough place to be a scrum half in this international with these law changes now. He's under so much pressure there twice. The thing that fascinates me...
You're talking to the wrong fella, mate. You're talking to the wrong fella. This is normal. I don't like to use this expression, when I used to play. That's normal.
It has gone a bit old school.
It has.
Yeah, it has.
There's no caterpillar. There's no protection now for the nine. It's like, get on with it. Get on with the drill.
They're just not used to it.
It's a skill that needs to change.
Yeah, no blockers and a quick 5-second rule means the nines that don't quite get the armchair ride they maybe did in recent years. Anyway, England scrum. What an area this is. South Africa 948 kgs to England 934. Solid scrum from England. Van Poortvliet gets it away. Freeman's off his wing and he sets it up over the gain line. Decent. Van Poortvliet, Smith, halfway line, cross pass, kick pass to Ollie Slightholme, who's got a little bit of space, and that's a nice grubber through. Back goes Colby. He's under pressure. He gets his kick away, but a big territorial gain for England, who will throw into the line out deep in the Springbok 22.
England made that look very, very simple, but it wasn't. It was well worked out. Again, England early plays, set piece plays, right on the money. And again,
well, England have it waiting loose at the tail of the line, and Ollie Slightholme's got his hands on the ball again. England only 15 metres out. Good start from England. Can they turn pressure into points? That's key against the best in the world. Ben Earl, slap bang in centre field. Van Poortvliet comes left as Smith folds round and throws a ball to Slightholme, who's got it again, Ollie Slightholme. And he steps and he makes a few metres and ducks under the giant Etzebeth. Van Poortvliet has a Toje who dives. He is chopped by two Springboks and is forced backwards. He almost hurdled into the tackle. Still in England possession. 5 live from the BBC. 3 minutes, 3 breathless minutes in. Smith's back for a drop goal. Will he try and build a score? No, he waits to drop goal and he goes left, Marcus Smith, and he's gone past him. Henry Slade, Ollie Slightholme, England score in the corner, and what a try it is! And it's made by Marcus Smith, who dummied the drop goal, skinned a few Springboks, and lovely hands from Smith to Slade. Ollie Slightholme can't stop scoring. Dream start for England here.
What a bit of play from Marcus Smith. I think everyone in this stadium, you made it sound so obvious. He's going for 3 points. He dropped back. It was Etzebeth from the right-hand side that flew out trying to get him. I don't know why, but Marcus Smith, he's so fast on his feet. Stood him up, got her in the prop, created a 3-on-2 out of nothing. What a finish.
Lot to do. Still a lot to do. Marcus Smith in the warm-up was just constantly knocking over these drop goals. Too many. He was hitting too many drop goals, as if he was wanting South Africa to look at him to say, yeah, this is how we're going to play. Because they were just saw on the far side, we're watching a replay now, on the far right-hand side of the pitch, Henry Slade is waving and calling for that ball as if to say, yes, it is on Marcus. That's the option. But it was still needed to be a 3-on-2. Conversion goes over from Marcus Smith. It still needed to be finished. And by the way, if Talaya of New Zealand scores that in the 2 yards that Ollie Slightholme scores, it we're all going, oh, he's so strong on his feet, he's midriff, really decent. But Ollie Slightholme, great hip strength, running through, fantastic finish.
Clever rugby from England. And all week, different messages coming from the different camps. Will England look to kick a lot? Will the Springboks look to play? And Smith set for the drop goal and then danced around the South African forwards. And England are on the board. They lead by 7 because Smith, with real confidence, landed his conversion. Matt Dawson is gesticulating. You're doing the sign for a knock-on. Knocked on by the box from the restart. And England, it's just going to be a constant process with these scrums, almost treat each one in isolation and desperately trying to keep the box at bay in that area.
It looked a bit creaky, the first one, though, for England, didn't it?
But it's fine early on, isn't it? It's when it gets further down the game, when he starts to wear away, and obviously they bring the bench on. I think early on we're fine. I think it's worth noting, though, on try too, not many fly-halves can do what Marcus Smith just did there. And yes, the first step, fly-halves might be able to do it, but not the second one, not to run round the prop. People would fix players, they wouldn't try and just skin him.
And what if you're 5 points down with a minute to go? You can't have him at fullback, you can't have him off the pitch. That's useless. You've got to have, if your fly half is that capable, he's got to be on the field for 80.
So the scrum has reset. And he's such an area of importance in this game, isn't it? It was the scrum that won it for the South Africans in 2019, along with other parts of their game, of course, and it was the scrum that got them out of jail in 2023. Van Poortvliet feeds. We'll go to the WSL at Stamford Bridge shortly, but England under a bit of pressure as Ben Earl peels away. They need a big game from Earl, carrying at his best if possible. Jamie George on a short ball from Van Poortvliet, but it's good efficient stuff so far from England, who lead by 7 on 5 live after 7 minutes. Van Poortvliet, he sends it up again. It's gone really high but not far, a bit like earlier. Then it's ended up in Springbok possession and they lose it, South Africa, and England have a chance to counter-attack here. Marcus Smith might be on for a 50-22. Oh, he's nailed that, has he? Oh, just had a bit of backspin almost. It doesn't trickle out. Colby's got to do a banana and he sliced it. Ironic cheers around the stadium. England have the line out, 25 metres out. Great start from Steve Borthwick's men. Let's go to the WSL. Andy Stevenson.
Well, this is a clash of the Titans as well here in the WSL. The top 2 teams in the WSL, Chelsea and Man City. Man City lead Chelsea by a point at the moment, but have played a game more. We're goalless after 17 minutes. Chelsea have had the best of it. Johanna Rytting-Kaneryd with a powerful run, but her shot didn't match up. And talking of powerful runs, Usain Bolt, one of the spectators here at Stamford Bridge this evening. It's Chelsea 0, Man City 0.
Good stuff, Andy. Back with you. Things unfold at the bridge as South Africa nicked that England line out. They went to the tell, and RJ Snyman, all kind of near 7 foot of him, got up. And then Libbok, he goes crossfield, and that's a bit of a shocker from him. It's dribbled out. Going to be England ball, isn't it? Yeah. Oh no, there was a knock-on first by England, so frustrating from an England point of view because they thought they may have had the line out, but it was knocked on. Libbok, though, a bit like in that World Cup semi-final when he was hooked after 25 minutes.
It's not just him, though, Josie. I can't remember seeing South Africa for 8 minutes. All they've done is knock it on. They've not done anything right yet. I think on the kicking thing too, Dawson, it's like the kick, if it's short, which Jack's first two have, it's not the end of the world if you win it back, which we have the first two. I think in the other couple of games we haven't managed to win those back. I know it's not ideal length of the kick, but we've got to make sure we win them back, which we luckily have so far. But yeah, I've not seen South Africa this bad.
And you can see England are going for South Africa 9 and 10. They're putting amazing pressure. It's brilliant. Little moments, even from the previous scrum along England's 22. They are on the retreat, England, but Ben Earl, quick as a flash, gets the ball and just disappears and runs straight into Libbok and says, go on then, have me try and smash me back. No, not happening.
Oh, Williams went blind from the scrum. It did collapse, but referee Brace, you may have heard, said both went down together. Stewart in the backfield sends up a high bomb as high as the Twickenham stands, and then it's knocked on by England, so South Africa will get the scrum, and the Boks have actually had a bit. Oh, they've got a penalty. Were England offside? Yeah, they were offside, and so South Africa have the penalty and their first chance, Matt Dawson, to go into English territory and get a bit of set piece ball.
South Africa will be looking just to settle things down a touch. It has been harem-scarum, and I just don't think that's going to. I just don't think that would suit South Africa. I think it's meat and drink to England. They will want as Chris Ashton has said, they will want those 50-50 kicks and the balls bouncing and flapping and worrying, and you can see England are just hounding South Africa at every opportunity. It's brilliant to watch.
It's the wrong kick selection though from Freddie Stewart there. All these teams in front of him, he's alone at the backfield. You can't go high. You've got to kick it back long. I don't know, I know it's his strength that you can think and get it back, but you don't kick a high ball when all the team's in front of you.
Well, that World Cup semi-final, remember, he had a similar situation. He went high, it led to a scrum and a knock-on, and that's what's so fascinating about the game. Yes, the kicks might be contestable, but if there are knock-ons, it feeds South Africa's super strength, which is the scrum. They go over the top of the line out on the 40 there, the box, taken by Colby's off his wing. Williams digs for it, slowish ball, but Pieter-Steph du Toit can always make a bit of ground, such as his heft. Centre field for South Africa, who just haven't settled yet. In the first 10 minutes, England lead by 7. Eben Etzebeth and Ollie Lawrence. Good tackle, Lawrence, on the record cap holder for the box, Eben Etzebeth. England are off the line quickly, much better their line speed compared to last week. So Williams has to go back to Libbok, who sends it up. Bit of a test. Oh, Smith is under this one, and Colby's beaten him to the punch. England wanted someone else there, I think. Grant Williams now has it. They've made a few metres the box. Snyman gets it out to the left-hand side and to Fassi, the fullback. Couple of metres in from the touchline. Williams is sniping. He's through. Grant Williams into the 22. Oh, he's under the post. What a try. What a brilliant individual try from South Africa's Grant Williams. Out of nothing. A snipe, a step. One out of the Matt Dawson book.
Wow. Wow. Get on socials and watch this. Williams been under so much pressure and was under pressure again with England's line speed, but unfortunately one player going ahead of everybody else. George Martin getting slightly ahead of the line, and there's half a break, and I'm not even going to say half a break, actually, quarter of a break and an opportunity. He's out on his own. He's thinking, if England tackle him here, he's isolated. It's turnover, and a feint with his head to the left and step off his left foot. Freddie Stewart ran himself into next week. What a sidestep. Wow.
He didn't even break stride. Normally players would slow down to get themselves momentum. No, didn't even break stride. Left foot. Freddie Stewart didn't even get a finger on him. What a bit of footwork.
7 points all. That's the beauty of this sport, isn't it? So often a game of giants and inches and attrition and aggression, and then you just get some poetic brilliance from Grant Williams and a sidestep from the gods. England 7, South Africa 7. 12 minutes that have flown by. What a game, what a test match we've got at the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. Slightholme gets up, he's then lost it. That ball's going everywhere. Oh, it's England possession, so Slightholme did well. Van Poortvliet kicks for Lawrence, all on the bounce. Doesn't sit up for Ollie Lawrence. If it had, he could have been in. But again, that word clever, England have to come up with something out of their box of tricks against the box. And they have managed to drive play to 8 metres or so from the South Africans' line.
It's, dare I say, it's classic England in these big games. They're starting so well.
I do think that's why Jack's here. I think he gauges
the variation.
That yeah.
And the execution, because I think Ollie Lawrence is probably calling for that, isn't he? I don't think a scrum half necessarily sees that opportunity, but if Ollie Lawrence is calling, you've got to have the ability to execute.
Yeah.
Oh, South Africa got their line out okay. I thought for a moment they were overthrowing it. And then Williams, who's probably on cloud 9 after that try, gave a bit of a hospital to Wilco Low, the Premiership title winner with Harlequins here in 2021. Low. Big kick, Libbok. Slightholme juggles with it, but backwards, so okay. Freddie Stewart, halfway line, he's going to run it back with a bit of energy there, Stewart. Willed on by the Twickenham crowd. Van Poortvliet, centre field, in South African territory. Ellis Genge on a trundle, into Siya Kolisi. No. Van Poortvliet is caught. England didn't resource that ruck. They left their 9 a bit isolated. And the ball is slow, even though it is still in English possession. 7 points all, 5 live from the BBC. Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton with us, 2 men who have played many a time against this imposing opposition in South Africa. And then England get a penalty plucked out of the ruck illegally by Pieter-Steph, and it means that Marcus Smith surely will go for goal to restore England's advantage. Very kickable, 15 metres in from touch, almost in centre field, and about 30 metres from the back line.
I can't believe this takes a lot of conflab here between Jamie George and the referee. Goes up and point. Thank you. Yeah, 3 points in these games are absolutely enormous.
I'm not sure what the penalty was for, to be honest.
I think the ruck was formed. I think there were maybe 2 or 3 people in the ruck, and then Peter Steph du Toit reached over when the ruck was formed. It's a close call, actually. You're right, but
these are the chances that England need to be getting points of. We mentioned before the game, a few times they've missed occasions where they need to take points. Today you can't afford to leave these points. When you come down here, he needs to make sure he knocks this over.
Marcus Smith then, just the left of the post. It's the kind of kick all autumn he's been nailing it. He's already set up a try, kicked the conversion, 7 points all. Up steps Smith, beautifully done. Right between the posts. England restore their advantage. England 10, South Africa 7. Let's get an update from Turkey against Wales in the Nations League. Is it half-time, Chris Coles?
We have reached half-time, Chris. Turkey 0, Wales 0. Lively stuff. Turkey domination, but admirable Welsh defence. Goalkeeper Karl Darlow brilliantly saving Turkey's best chance. Yunus Akgün one-on-one, denied by a Darlow outstretched hand. Wales did hit the post on the break just before half-time. The in-form Harry Wilson placing his left foot shot past the keeper, but couldn't find the bottom corner. Turkey 0, Wales 0.
Cheers, Chris. England, Republic of Ireland tomorrow at 5 here on 5 Live. Special Football Daily on the way later as Van Poortvliet's charged down and then Smith is charged down. Are South Africa scoring here? I think they are. Oh, 2 charge downs. First Van Poortvliet, then Smith. And just like that, the Boks are back ahead.
The fine margins of this test match. Very, very quickly, England get their heads on. Has to get their heads on to understand that is the intensity that they are at. And England are, when they've got the ball and when they don't have the ball in their defence, is very intense. But there's been too many of these, Chris. Too many kicks nearly charged down, kicks being a little bit short from 9, and now 2 charged down kicks in a matter of seconds.
He's left himself far too open there. He kicks the ball half a metre away from the ruck.
Van Poortvliet.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's so exposed to the South African. Etzebeth is 6'7". He's not going to miss. I don't understand how they're leaving themselves so open to the charge down.
Done a lot right the first 17 minutes as Libbok. Oh, it's hit the left post. So still a 2-point game. England 10, South Africa 12. Done a lot right, but they've got to be able to get out of their territory, haven't they? I was seeing a replay and, well, on the replay, the Twickenham crowd may think that Etzebeth's gone a tiny bit early.
Well, but
Peter Steph du Toit, by the way, was the guy who charged down Smith's kick and scored the try.
Jack Van Poortvliet, he's just got to go into his locker now in his mind and say, OK, how do I solve that? I don't solve it by trying to speed myself up. I actually solve myself by slowing myself down and throw a little body shape in, just a little twitch, just to make sure that Etzebeth comes offside when he hasn't touched the ball. No dummies, but just a little twitch, just to make sure that they're staying honest.
Oh, it's ended up in the hands of RJ Snyman, who's gone over the halfway line, and after that slow start, the Boks are now full of confidence, and they're only 30-odd metres from the English line. They may have numbers to the left, but Wilco Low sets it up. England 10, South Africa 12. What an opening quarter we've had on 5 Live. Grant Williams, there's Jasper Wiese, the number 8, playing against some former teammates, once a Leicester man, Wiese, a Premiership winner, with Steve Borthwick, with the likes of Stewart and Martin and Van Poortvliet. Damien Deolande shrugs off opposite man Henry Slade, and the Boks have an advantage now. Andrew Brace, the ref's got his left arm outstretched. Little kick from Williams, well taken. No, it's lost by Stewart. Colby's got it. Still advantage to the Springboks, who are up to the 22. Williams burrowing, digging for the ball. Fassi's up at first receiver. He's got it now. Fassi. DP comes to Libbok. He now kicks. This one Stewart will definitely take, but no advantage. Let's listen in to referee Andrew Brace.
It was high. It was high on the tackle.
It's on the break. Just slightly high tackle and then chasing back.
Someone has just rattled the Springboks. And that someone is England as a whole. There's
Number 3.
plenty going on this field. There's plenty of chirp. There's plenty of anger. There's revenge you can see from that semi-final. And to the credit of the Springboks, they are bouncing back. They're not having it.
And they're not kicking for goal, Matt. That was eminently kickable. I know Libbok is no Andre Pollard, and he's struggled off the tee. But you still wonder with a 2-point lead whether they'd be looking to make that 5 away from home at a place like this. But they've gone for the corner, and now they have the line out 12 metres or so from the English line. Will they go to the maul? Will they come up with a trick play? They'll keep you guessing, South Africa, despite their obvious power strength. They've gone over the top to Deolande. That wasn't part of the plan, but it is in the possession of the centre. And they're only 7 metres out. Grant Williams, Peter Steff, will the big boys go to work? That's ominous if so for England. Williams digs for it. The gap is 2, but South Africa pressing. Again, they drive through Snyman, who can't be stopped today. England are over the top trying to steal, but it's still there for South Africa. And Grant Williams to the left to Etzebeth, trundles into Stewart. England trying to make some mischief at the breakdown, but they've not rolled. Penalty again. And now what do you do if you're South Africa? Again, it's kickable, but they may just feel they've got momentum to go for the corner.
It's South Africa. They only know one way.
Come away from the tackle.
And when they are in this mood, when you've upset them, which I like, by the way, because South Africa will start to make some dud calls. They will make some mistakes. England need to hang on here and get out of it, because South Africa are one-dimensional, and it's very dangerous, don't get me wrong, but it can be to England's advantage if they manage to get themselves out of this hole.
They go to the front, the Springboks. RJ Snyman, can England hold him up over the line? It's a maul, but they've got it back the box. They're only 3 or 4 metres out. Peter Steff, the try scorer. They've got 2 today already, South Africa. Advantage offside, England leaking penalties. They're under real pressure. Matt Dawson thinks the yellow card is coming. Here's captain Khaleesi. He drives, again advantage. South Africa with a free play. Grant Williams back to Libbok. Libbok goes cross-field. Here's one for Cheslin Kolbe. Oh, what a step. And they've got another one, South Africa. That man, Kolbe, he did it in the World Cup final to England in 2019. He's done it again in London. And that was ruthless stuff. The power of the forwards, the precision of Manie Libbok, and the dead-eye finishing of one of the greats in Cheslin Kolbe. And South Africa's lead is now out to 7.
Look, I mean, just as an aside, the South African side have sprinted.
I noticed that he got
back into their half.
The ball so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, they really do mean business. Something has properly wound them up, because they weren't like this in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and now it's as if someone has really poked the bear. I don't know whether it's just because England have played well or whether they've said something. But my goodness me, they have been what a catch and step that was. Actually,
you know,
you got that in your locker.
Not today, not against these lot. You know, as soon as the ball has left his boot, it's a try. There's far too much space out here, and that's because the South African forwards have sucked England in. But as soon as the ball's in the air, you know he's going to catch it and score. There's too much space around him.
What I loved about it, though, was as the ball is in the air for a long time, Freddie Stewart is turned round and is teeing him up.
He's already stepped.
But he was moving, as if to say, am I going to catch it to my right? Am I going to catch it to my left? I'm just going to keep on moving. Oh, and at the last minute, steps off his right foot, because obviously Freddie Stewart was blind to see where the ball was coming from. It was a brilliant bit of play.
And Libbok kicked the conversion from the angle. England 10, South Africa 19. And there's just a sense that the Boks have their tails up. More than a sense, they've got their tails up. So the next score for England, you feel the next score has to be English. Maro Itoje almost charges down Williams. Stewart, he's beaten to the punch by Etzebeth. And now they've got loose ball, South Africa, and they might be away. Libbok, Fassi, if he had got that from the backfield, he was away, but it went to Kriel. And Kriel is hauled down over on the far side, 5 metres in, just short of the halfway line. Libbok is down in centre field. It doesn't look like a head injury, so play will continue. And England have the penalty, actually, as the Boks dive over. So, I think it's probably... it's a neck roll is the call that's come in to referee Andrew Brace. So, a bit of respite for England, Matt Dawson, and they'll be able to take play up to the 22. I doubt Smith will go for goal from this angle and from this distance.
Neko.
I think Lippert was staying down there to get the attention of the TMO
Just put it
from a little midfield collision off the ball.
after that.
Andrew Brace threatening to stroll over and have a conversation, maybe biding some time.
Say again.
Do you think
it's a
Razzie,
knock goal,
with Lebock starting this game, has told him not to worry about the conversions, just go play rugby, knowing you've got Pollard on the bench? If it's a tight game at the end, you can bring him on to kick the goals. Right now, he's not needed. They can keep kicking to the corner. He doesn't have to put the pressure on him taking the conversions.
Well, Lebock was melted by Ollie Lawrence. Looked nice and legal from Lawrence, but as Matt Dawson was saying to Sonia in the build-up, they're going to go for the more inexperienced of the South African 10s. He is 27, Lebock. He's been around the block, but he isn't Andre Pollard in terms of miles on the clock. Here England, though, from the line-out with Tommy Freeman. They've got to make this kind of field position count, and they trundle on Big George Martin. Listen to the roar around Twickenham. They're only a metre or two out. Maro Itoje, he's hurdling, and he's hit backwards. But England need a bit of composure. Smith again is deep. He hasn't got too many teammates with him, so they go to the right and they drive on again. George Martin's had a really good game, the England second row. 5 metres out, Van Poortvliet, Ollie Lawrence, 9 points is the lead for South Africa. A converted try would cut it to 2. Ben Earl, good footwork, but he's hit hard by 3 Springboks. Physicality immense out there. Sam Underhill's in! He's scored, has he? Yes! Brilliant stuff from Underhill, back in the side. And somehow, he's got through this Springbok defence to bring England right back into it.
Sam Underhill using his mind there. Always has the reputation of smashing people back, being the physical back rower. Not on this occasion. It was down to Martin, it was down to Cunningham South to truck it up. And then Sam Underhill came on this wonderfully flat, acute line, blindsiding the South African defenders, mostly the front row, and has still had to finish and reach. My goodness me, he has shown some power and athleticism to finish that try.
That wasn't scripted. He's come on an angle there that's almost undefendable because he comes from the blind side. He's just gone alone though. England looked slightly lost in attack. They didn't know where to go, but he's carried 3 men over with him and had the awareness to get the ball over to.
Smith kicks the goal, actually. And previously, when I mentioned Ben Earl was smashed by 3, I think he was hit by 3 loose forwards or 3 back 5 players, which meant that Underhill was up against, as Matt touched upon, the 2 props. So England needs to keep being clever, keep being cute, highlighting people like Nche and Lowe around those fringes.
Yeah, you've got to do things differently. When England have been down in the 22, they have done that so far. Underhill there, Marcus Smith before. You've just got to keep the box guessing.
They've definitely picked out how to attack the front row, because when Marcus Smith made that break from the drop goal, he ran around Nche. He's obviously had his head up and spotted that they're the people they need to be attacking.
Well, Ox Nche has been one of the players of the year, the last year, with his amazing scrummaging exploits, but it wouldn't be an insult to say that he isn't the nimblest around the park. England, they're charged again. They've got to sort this out, England, but they have got loose ball to attack. Ollie Lawrence, good hands. Henry Slade, if he gives it to Slightholme, he'll have some space. Ollie Slightholme kicks. That might sit up the worst case scenario. It's a goal line dropout. So England, despite Van Poortvliet being caught again, managed to break out 60-70 metres.
It looks so obvious from here. I don't know why. This is the inexperience of Marcus and Jack being together. Marcus should be calling for that ball from Jack to just relieve any sort of pressure from him.
I mean, yes, but it just doesn't need it. Etzebeth is so on the line there. The tiniest of twitch. Van Poortvliet doesn't need to put his hands on the ball. He can just hover it near the ball. He can even go up to the referee and say, listen, I am not going to touch this ball, but I'm going to test that offside line. Watch me. And talk to the ref.
Jamie George was trying to just have a word with Andrew Brace. He was happy that it was out. Anyway, England have it. Centre field from the goal line, drop out. Ollie Lawrence throws a dummy and he makes ground. England are puncturing the gain line. As Smith takes it, goes inside to try scorer Underhill, who again crosses the gain line. It's good quick ball for Van Poortvliet. It's there for Itoje, who thunders into Lowe. England 17, South Africa 19. Good ball out the back. Slade almost got away. Lawrence then loses it. I wonder if Slade could have kept hold of the ball but it's enterprising for England. It's getting somewhere, even though that move broke down. Lawrence with a wry smile. Half an hour gone. What a half an hour we've had here on 5 Live. England 17, South Africa 19. Matt Dawson.
I wonder what Rassie Erasmus is thinking right now. I've just watched South Africa jerseys 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6 stroll over to where this scrummaging, hand on hips, absolutely blowing from anywhere they can possibly blow. They are being run ragged at the moment, with the ball and without, and they will not be used to this intensity.
It's great for me. It's great attack. They're pulling South African this way, that way. They don't know what's coming. Marcus Smith out the back is so dangerous. He's just a threat all the time, so it pulls up the outside defenders, and they don't know. If they don't hit Marcus, it doesn't give them enough time to get back in time. England's great variety in attack when they're doing the South Africa ends is really good.
Just the stoppage while both sets of forwards get some running repairs. Libbok again limping, and the scrum is preparing to form around about the 22. Remember, you can listen to us everywhere you go, through the BBC Sounds app, through the BBC Sport website, through your Alexa, your radio, and you can follow the BBC Sport live text as well, which is on the front page of the website, where you've got live text coverage with all the insight on what has been a captivating 30 minutes of Autumn Nations Series Rugby Union. Earlier, Scotland got the job done, 59-21 against Portugal, and here at Allianz Stadium in Twickenham, England 17, South Africa 19. Scrum to the box, Chris Ashton, on the 22.
This is an area that you know they're going to rely on to get a penalty.
Yeah, exactly as you said, they've got the penalty. And I look,
it doesn't matter how tired they are.
Yeah.
You know, and they know, right, we're under pressure, get us out of here.
And you've got to somehow change perceptions, because refs are going into the games thinking if it's a 50-50 call, well, it's going to be England who are infringing because of what South Africa have done over the last how many years of the international scene.
Yeah, and look at the benches as well. It's not going to get any easier, is it, as the game goes on? It's arguably going to be more difficult because of the benches, the strength of that South African. Admittedly, they're a 5-3 split, so they can't do the full scrummage change, but England will not want scrums today.
England, Grant Williams has gone away as England rushed up from the line. Ian Aronson with him. That could have been curtains for England, but he didn't get the ball away, Williams, and England have turned it over brilliantly. Will they look to counter-attack? Yes, they might. And that was an excellent bit of work on the floor from England. But Grant Williams, who threw a dummy from the line out because he was under pressure, sliced through. And if he had linked with Curtly Aronson, who was herring up on his left, he would have been under the sticks. And England would have been trailing by more. At the moment, the gap is just 2. We'll go to Andy at Stamford Bridge shortly, but let's see if Van Porthy can get this away. He can, to ironic jeers from the Twickenham faithful. Up comes Fassi. He drops it. Even more ironic jeers. England will probably choose the line out over the scrum as we go to Chelsea in the WSL and Andy Stevenson.
So 0-0 between Chelsea and Man City. 2 unbeaten teams going head-to-head here, so maybe no surprise it's currently level. Man City have just gone close through Kirsten Kasparai, who had a shot saved at the near post by Hannah Hampton. Couple of minutes to go to the break, 0-0.
Andy, that's over on Sports Extra. As Andy says, a 5:30 kickoff, so nearing half-time. It's 0-0 Turkey-Wales in the Nations League, back with Chris Scholes in the second half.
2 meters.
9 minutes to go until half-time here. Jamie George, they did take the line out, England, and Ben Earl comes on a line, and he's made plenty of meters, about 10 of them into the back half. Marcus Smith goes crossfield, then it's charged. Creel has it, he's wrapped up by the England centres, Slade and Lawrence. But England are making so much more ground with their carries than they did the last few weekends. Fassi kicks into the backfield where Marcus Smith takes it. He says to Freeman, let's kick. And then Freeman says, hold on, let's actually play. And Freeman's up against Estebeth. And he gets it inside to Earl. Good stuff, England. Enterprising, ambitious. They didn't just go to the boot. They played. And now Smith is through. Marcus Smith. Good tackle, but he made 10 metres. England have quick ball. Ollie Lawrence first receive. And you may have heard a cry from our summarisers, Chris Ashton and Matt Dawson. And that is the problem when you take George Furbank out and Marcus Smith's on the ground. England don't have an abundance of playmakers on their feet, and Lawrence kicks the ball away. Goal line dropout.
I mean, you'd like to think Henry Slade is going to step up there and take control with Marcus Smith going to the deck.
Just don't
Anyway.
overthink it.
Yeah,
Just
Okay.
play,
Yeah,
Ollie.
I agree.
His strength is
Agree,
carrying,
yeah.
offload. Just,
Below here on
I
that.
don't think he's overthinking the situation too much. It's South Africa and it just go play.
On the ball, right.
But Marcus Smith's sharp. Every opportunity he's getting, he's beating men, he's creating gaps.
Below down
I think it's the sharpest we've seen in an England shirt, Marcus Smith, these last few weeks. His 38th cap, so he's no rookie, but he's been in, he's been out, he's been 10 with Farrell, 12, he's been benching as Nche comes off. So, if this is permanent, which it looks, on comes Gerhard Steenkamp, it means they won't be able to unload their front row at once in the second half. He has got a cut on his right knee, so maybe he'll get patched up and come back on for blood. But it kind of looks as if he's moving very awkwardly. So we'll wait to see whether that's permanent, but it does mean that Rassie Erasmus won't have the luxury of maybe unloading his front row in the second half. England 17, South Africa 19. Just that word on Marcus Smith, Matt Dawson, about how much he's oozing confidence these last few weekends.
well, it's plain for everybody to see, Chris. The bigger the game, those types of individuals rise to the occasion. They love it.
He's got it now from the goal line dropout. Benno found him. He's gone cross field. They're loving this tactic. That one was comfortably taken by Colby, and Colby kicks with Slightholme, and his back turned a bit. Ollie Slightholme, good kick, Colby, and he makes all. That's a
Good kick.
sorry.
Meters.
It's an outstanding clearance from Colby that's taken play in between the 10-metre line and the 22. 6.5 to the break. Chris Ashton, England 17, South Africa 19.
I mean, you wouldn't want to be in Chris's team there, would you? As the coach.
Oh, we're setting high
Oh,
standards.
well done.
Solid-
well played. You won by 50.
Solid,
Go on then.
solid stuff.
Go on, have one beer.
No, it was a brilliant kick from Colby, and England they're getting stuck into the box. That's such a good game so far. So many different tactical areas and little nuances, and one team bossing one area, the other team bossing another. Van Poortvliet gets it away. Chris Ashton had his hands in his head because it's so close to being charged down. Colby comes through and takes it miraculously. And South Africa have it through Grant Williams. Here's Bongi Mbonambi, who's hit hard on the gain line. The sting taken out of that South African move. So Fassi will go to the boot. I wonder if Chandler Cunningham South could have charged that. Aronsa's up there, well taken. Freddie Stewart, that's why he's in the team. Rock solid under the high ball. England through Van Poortvliet. It is helter-skelter stuff. Genge goes to his knees and went to throw the pass, but then he set it up. And I wonder if Smith will say, let's play a bit of territory now. England have been kind of playing it from anywhere, slightly defying the pre-match predictions of Rassie Erasmus. They would kick the ball at all opportunities. Crossfield from Smith though this time, backwards from the box. Then it's claimed by Dear, done really well I think to keep hold of the ball. England look to counter-attack, counter-ruck, but it's there for South Africa, and the new boy Steenkamp on his 10th appearance for his country. Back to Libbok. Libbok goes crossfield for Arendse. Arendse against Stewart. Up go. Oh, what a take. Stewart over his head, Aussie rule style, and he's got away, and he's kicked for Freeman. And can Freeman get onto this? Will it sit up for him? Almost. Who did it come off? If it came off Libbok, it's an England line out on the 5-metre line. Oh, they've given a scrum. They reckon Freeman knocked it on the officials. But Freddie Stewart not only taking that, Chris Ashton, a former teammate of yours, but scything through the Springbok defence and creating a try-scoring opportunity.
Yeah, that's why he's in the team today. He is one of the best in the world at catching the high ball. This one was over his head. Doesn't give Arendse a chance, because over his head he's near 7 foot, maybe over Freddie Stewart, because he's that tall already. That's why he's in the team. But yeah, he did great to get on the front foot straight away, knock the ball through. Tommy Freeman really unlucky.
Well, if the stadium audio-visual team are any good, they would just play that replay of the ball going into touch a few times so that Andrew Brace could watch it. Freddie Stewart looks like he's going to grab the ball and bring it into his chest, and actually it came off a South African player, so you probably think that should be an England line out maybe, rather than the scrum to South Africa.
Really tight call. Yeah, he was trying to wrap it into himself, wasn't he?
It's we've got a little bit of a break here, but it's an interesting tactic from South Africa. Not necessarily the kick. I think they've been all pretty good kicks, but from Colby and Arendse's, the way they're trying to chase and overcommit themselves for people they're not even 6 foot and they're going up against, they're going up against Stewart. You would think, why would you put yourself in the air? Why would, if you know you're not going to, he's not going to overreach or he's going to be off balance, surely you'd keep yourself on the ground and just at least make the tackle.
I do think they're kicking at the wrong time, and that's what you don't get. Pollard doesn't kick in that situation, I don't think, and if he does, if he's not doing it, it's Leroux, and they don't have that so far in this game. If Fassi he's not as good as a kicker, he doesn't operate just as well around the field as Leroux, so they've lost that this evening. South Africa, they just don't have that wide option. But yeah, some of the kicks haven't been on the money for South Africa. Maybe the wingers just aren't reading it as well as they normally do.
Closing stages of this enthralling first half. And you can hear the crowd in outstanding voice. 82,000, whether South African or English, transfixed. England 17, South Africa 19. 3 minutes to go and the scrum has reset. And this is where all eyes, not just on the front rows, but on the referee as well. If South Africa win the penalty, they get out of their own 22. England just have to try and not concede here and force South Africa to play out either with the hands or the boot. Referee Andrew Brace, who's let the game flow pretty nicely this first half, he tells the front rows to it's gone down, it's a South African penalty. If the scrum collapses, it's almost certainly going to go the Springboks' way.
Genge's getting royally done over there on the loose head. Yeah, whether it's legal or not, who knows? But he is getting piled by the South African tight head and hooker.
I need better discipline on set.
Again, get yourself into the half-time, little bit of readjustment, maybe try a tactic, but at the moment, every single scrummage has just been simple South Africa ball. You cannot expect to win this game if that's the case.
It just gives you such an easy out, doesn't it? It gives you attacking opportunities. It gives you 30, 40, 50 metres of territory just like that. If you can win a scrum penalty, then kick and get the line out. And Bongi Mbonambi is preparing to throw. Fine Snyman, Grant Williams to Libbok. That's more of a cuter little dink for Aaron Sir, but it's well taken by Tommy Freeman. England have it halfway line. South African penalty though. Freeman holds on. And South Africa, having been on their own goal line moments ago, will end this first half either with a shot for goal, but more likely, you think, Manie Libbok driving play into the English 22. No, he's gone for goal. He has gone for goal from 50 metres. And this will be an interesting one. Libbok from distance, as we see a replay on our screens of Freeman getting caught by Khaleesi and then Jasper Wiese forcing the penalty.
Just too slow to get into the ruck. Henry Slade, the Slenters just didn't react quick enough. Jasper Wiese straight over the ball. He's so strong. You can't give a team like this, with the players they've got in the back row, a second longer than they need to. Should have been in there quicker, England.
Lovely thinking though. Tactically, just to then just mix it up with a little chip over, because England are coming up so quick under all this pressure. It would have been easy just to truck it up and go through the routine, but someone in that South African back line is looking for the space. Go on then, little chip over and let's cause some havoc.
Here's Manie Libbok from 50. That's gone to the right. Just about had the distance, but it was stabbed by Libbok. Slade takes his time, he gets it away. Accomplished clearance from Henry Slade. It will still be South African ball. It's still in English territory, but you always felt that was a bit out of character from the Springboks to go for that penalty.
I think there's always a net gain there. I feel from that, you're running the clock down. What are England going to do from underneath their sticks? It was never going to go dead. I think that's, the probability of this happening was probably very high.
Mbonambi to Pieter-Steph du Toit, captain Khaleesi, Grant Williams, gain line for Wiese. He's upended by Ben Earl. Almost a hint of a no arms again from Earl. But the officials happy for now as South Africa drive on in centre field. The lead is 2, the clock is dead any second now, and it's knocked on, and England can take half-time, or will they? No, Smith is playing. I think from your own 22, you've probably got to belt this out and take the break if you're England, and not risk South Africa getting a penalty. Yep, that's what Van Poortvliet does, and both sets of players, I say, sprint off to the sheds. A couple of tired bodies out there, and understandably so. A fantastic first 40 England 17, South Africa 19. A word from Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton, and then Sonia McLaughlin.
Certainly lived up to expectations. Brilliant test match. Great 40 minutes over in a blink, but so much energy used by both sides. The second half's going to be fascinating. Both sides want to play, there's no question about that, and they're not forgetting about the physicality for sure, but the moment of brilliance from either side is going to be the difference for sure.
England have been really good when they've got down to South Africans half in the 22. The variety in attack's been great. They just need to sort out receiving kickoffs, their own exit, just tidying it up, which I don't think is too difficult, and hopefully they get that done at half time.
Are you not entertained? Never mind Gladiator 2, we've got our own Colosseum here, and this is fantastic Saturday night entertainment that you are listening to on 5 Live Sport. England 17, South Africa 19, all to play for as England chase their first win of this autumn campaign. First of all, Matt Dawson, you've alluded to it, just as a test match goes, how good was that?
Yeah, that's out of the top drawer for sure. And I think we've spoken about this England side. As much as we're desperately disappointed that there have been 2 losses so far in this Autumn Nations series, England have played some really, really good rugby. But then they've not necessarily mixed up their strategy throughout the first half of both New Zealand and Australia that put them in a position to give them all the momentum. Whereas I think it's been so fast and furious and backs against the wall that England have just thrown everything at South Africa, and they're getting change. You know, they are 2 points behind, and they gifted South Africa a try straight after their penalty. You know, they are well in this game, and South Africa know it, and that's why both Chris's and I have spoken about the dander up of this South African side, because they know that they are in an enormous test match, and it's starting to challenge that South African character.
And we've seen some wonderful moments of individual brilliance, whether it's Grant Williams with his little solo effort, Cheslin Kolbe. How much did you enjoy Ollie Slightholme as a winger, Chris, going in the equivalent space of a phone box in that left-hand corner down there?
Yeah, he finished it really well, but it was all created by Marcus Smith. He's been outstanding today. It's so hard to handle. He's a constant threat, which just puts the defending team, South Africa, in 2 minds all the time. But he sidestepped Etstebeth and ran round the front row. It was all Marcus Smith, unfortunately, that one, Sonj.
I could talk all day about Marcus Smith, and he's had an absolutely brilliant autumn, and maybe we will at the end of the programme before we head off to France against New Zealand with Sarah Orchard and Paul Grayson. Let's bring you up to date with our 2 football matches that we have live at the moment in the WSL. It's half-time at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Manchester City. Andy Stevenson.
And it's 0-0 at the break, Sonia, between the top 2. Neither side giving up their unbeaten status easily. Chelsea have had the majority of possession and the chances. Johanna Rytting-Kaneryd had a strong run into the area earlier on, but her shot didn't match. Micah Hamano maybe should have done better with a first-time shot that she scooped over the bar. And at the other end, Bunny Shaw dragged a great chance wide when gifted the ball by Chelsea left-back Sondy Baltimore. I think Man City are missing Lauren Hemp, who has been an assist machine so far this season. She's missing tonight with a knee injury. It's Chelsea 0, Man City 0.
England play the Republic of Ireland tomorrow in the Nations League. We'll have full commentary of that here on 5 Live. Lee Carsley's final game before Thomas Tuchel takes over. That's a 5 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. Right now, Wales in action against Turkey. Chris Cole's watching.
And they are holding Turkey still 0-0 with 63 minutes played. Wales defending so well in the face of relentless Turkey pressure. They're still dominating possession, but only creating chances from range. Wales very disciplined at the back and carrying their own threats on the break. Harry Wilson hitting the post in the first half, and he's orchestrating the fleeting Wales attacks in the second. The pace of Dan James and Sorba Thomas alongside him give Wales a real edge on the counter, and the longer this stays goalless, Sonia, the more Wales will fancy nicking one late on. But still 25 minutes to play. Turkey 0, Wales 0.
Ground staff here at the Allianz Stadium out with their little forks, just turning in the divots after these behemoths of men have done some damage to the old Twickenham surface. We'll be back for the second half here with England 17, South Africa 19. Latest news now on 5 Live with Fraser Dainton.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Sonia. Good evening. Sir Keir Starmer has defended the government's budget measures as he addressed members of the Welsh Labour Party at their conference. Hundreds of farmers protested outside the event in Llandudno over the government's decision to apply a new 20% inheritance tax on farm estates worth more than £1 million. The Prime Minister said tax increases were necessary to stabilise the economy.
When you find damp in your house, you always have a choice. Paint over it, hope it goes away, put it off till tomorrow, or strip it out, pull off the plaster and deal with it once and for all. So make no mistake, I will defend our decisions in the budget all day long.
A murder investigation has been launched after a woman's body was found inside the boot of a car in East London. Police say the woman, who hasn't been named, was from Corby in Northamptonshire, and they were contacted earlier this week by someone concerned for her welfare, which led to the discovery in Ilford. Leaders of the G7 group of countries have described Russia as the sole obstacle to a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. They've issued a joint statement to mark nearly 1,000 days since the start of Moscow's full-scale invasion. President Zelensky says Ukraine must do all it can through diplomacy to end the war next year. Officials in northern India are trying to identify 3 newborn babies who were among 10 killed in a fire at a hospital neonatal unit. 16 others suffered injuries. More than 50 babies were in the unit when the blaze erupted in the town of Jhansi. And the guitar Noel Gallagher played on the third Oasis album, Be Here Now, in 1997, has sold at auction for more than £226,000. Noel has previously described the custom-made Silver Sparkle Gibson Les Paul Florentine as the best in the world.
This weekend on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Tomorrow at 5, England take on Ireland in the Nations League, live from Wembley.
What a finish that was!
And on 5 Sports Extra at 4, Wales take on Australia in the Autumn Internationals.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport
with Sonia McLaughlin.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
And welcome back to the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. The crowd here at half-time with England trailing South Africa 19 points to 17. Enjoying the DJ who's on the decks. There's a bit of a Saturday night vibe here. And some of the youngsters in the crowd very much having fun. We'll be back for second half commentary. But for now, we're going to talk the WSL. It's 0-0 half-time between Chelsea and Manchester City at Stamford Bridge. Earlier, Arsenal won 3-0 against Spurs in the North London derby at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Arsenal still sitting fourth. After the match, Rob Schofield spoke to the interim Arsenal boss, Renee Slagers.
Perfect result. Very happy with the result. I think you see Tottenham is looking for ways to stop us, and we have to adjust and manage that through the game. Obviously, the early goal really helps us in the game. The early save from Daphne as well. I think apart from a couple of times when they get out on counter-attacks, I think we managed the game really well throughout.
And that fast start in particular, I mean, Alessia's just told us that they did want to put last year right. Was that a feeling amongst the group?
Yeah, from our end, we try to stay in the moment and look at what we're doing now and the momentum we're creating in the moment. But I know the players have been talking about it, how last year went and how they wanted to change that around. So that was probably a little bit of extra fire in the players, yeah.
She also said you've really added a confidence since you've come in, and that's another clean sheet, 21 goals in 6 games. So there's definitely a freedom there. Can you tell us about that from your perspective and maybe how you've gone about harbouring that?
I think confidence is such a hard concept to talk about, because I think what exactly is it? But you can see that the players are thriving out there at the moment. We try to put them into their strengths as much as we can. We try to facilitate, but then I think the players are really growing as people and as players because they've been stepping up so much after the big change that happened. So credit to the players.
We're aware of the original plan for you to be stepping in charge until the international break. Have you been told anything different now as we edge towards that period?
No, I'm just here. We just got the win against Tottenham, which was very important. Now it's just a couple of days in between, and then we have a very important game against Juventus. So just in the moment, recovery from this, and then we go Juventus.
Yeah. Meanwhile, second half commentary of Chelsea Man City in the WSL is on Sports Extra right now. To goal, Rory McIlroy in a three-way share of the lead heading into the final round of the season-ending DP World Tour Championship in Dubai. McIlroy's 4 under, round of 68 earlier, means he's at 12 under with Denmark's Rasmus Højgaard and the Frenchman Antoine Reusner. Now, a teenage jockey won today's big race, the Gold Cup Handicap Chase at Cheltenham. Let's get a recap of all the day's action with John Hunt.
14 times champion trainer Paul Nicholls enjoyed his third success in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, but not with the hot favourite Ginny's Destiny, but Il Ridotto having his third run in the race, having finished third and fourth in the last 2 seasons. A great effort then by both trainer and horse, who galloped 4.5 lengths clear of previous winner Garlaw, with Let's Go Champ in third. But the real story of the race was the biggest career success for teenage jockey Freddie Gingell, the winning rider. Gingell was born into racing, his grandfather being Gold Cup winning trainer Colin Tizard, and his uncle Joe, himself now one of Britain's leading trainers. Here is Gingell with his reaction for 5 Live Sport.
Oh, it was amazing. He's gave me 100%. He's jumped for fun. He's travelled, and yeah, he was very good today. He was very good today.
And coming up that Cheltenham Hill, big crowd here today, a lot of noise. What's that like?
Oh, it's amazing. It really is, and like this is just what every jockey dreams of. Obviously, I was very lucky to have a Grade 1 here back in January, but this coming here today in front of all these people is the main race of the day, main race of the weekend. It's amazing. It really is.
You're still a teenager.
Yeah.
When did you start dreaming of days like this?
Oh, it's probably as soon as I started pony racing, about 8 or 9. As soon as I started pony racing, I thought this is what I want to do, and hopefully do it big time. And so far, it's going the right way.
Is it everything that you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, I come here today thinking I got a lovely chance of getting placed. He was third in it last year, but I knew off 9.13 he should go very close, and I didn't think he'd win it by that far even. But he's won it with his ears pricked in the end, and he's very good.
And the trainer Paul Nicholls had the favourite in the race as well. So what did he tell you beforehand?
My instructions were just have Harry in my sights, sit second or third to Harry, and always keep Cruz, just keep filling him up, get him jumping, and that's exactly what he did. And come down the hill, I thought, I might have got a bit too soon, but my instructions were as well just to turn in, no matter what, kick on. So I gave him a little squeeze, and he was very good over the last 2, and yeah, he was very good in general.
And when you've experienced something like this, you'd like to do this again and again and again.
Yeah, definitely, especially at Cheltenham, home of racing. It's amazing.
And there were 2 other notable wide margin winners today. Both Triumph Hurdle trial winner East India Dock and Arkle Chase trial winner L'Eau du Sud were tremendously impressive. Both now confirmed as hugely exciting talents to watch out for the rest of the season.
Second half of England, South Africa to come very, very shortly. Earlier in the day, Scotland, Gregor Townsend, Scotland, comfortably beat Portugal 59-21 at Murrayfield to chalk up their second win of the autumn campaign. Another Mugby match for you after this one on 5 Live, and what a huge match it could be. France take on New Zealand tonight at 8:10 here. Sarah Orchard will be commentating alongside Paul Grayson, and she joins us now. So much history, Sarah, between these two. Not least they were the two that opened the Rugby World Cup just a year ago in that fabulous opening fixture. Given that the All Blacks have already beaten England and Ireland, what sort of achievement would it be for them to come up here and to get the clean sweep?
I mean, it would be incredible, wouldn't it, Sonia? A very good evening to you. It's filling up at the Stade de France, and there is quite a lot of tension, you have to say, in this fixture. You said quite rightly there, they haven't played now since they last met in that opening match of the World Cup, and you have to remember that France have beaten New Zealand the last 2 times that they've played them. And it was quite a convincing win in the end in that opening match of the World Cup. but they haven't beaten New Zealand for 3 times in a row back to the 94-95 season. So there's a lot of pressure on France. You'd say there's less pressure actually on New Zealand, as much as, yes, they'd like a clean sweep. They've had a lot of chopping and changing coming into this. We get to see Bowden Barrett back on the field after he missed out against Ireland. And they've got Italy next week as well. So they've still got another fixture to go before they complete their season. So I'd actually say, arguably, there's a bit more pressure on France this evening in front of their home fans.
We've got the teams out here. Sarah, you're with us for commentary at 8:10, right, with Paul Grayson?
Yeah, can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. That's Sarah Orchard. She will be back to bring you France against New Zealand. That's always a mouth-watering encounter. We've got both teams here. England 17, South Africa 19. Can England get their first scalp of the autumn? Chris Jones.
I know we often start second half commentary, Sonia, by saying don't go anywhere, but really, I implore everyone listening, do not go anywhere, not least because Sarah and Paul Grayson have commentary tonight of New Zealand against France. Back-to-back Autumn Nations here on 5 Live as Libbok kicks off this second half. Stewart comes forward, he's lost it, and South Africa have field position. They'll have a scrum at least as Wilco Low barrels into Ellis Genge. 2 points in it after a crazy first 40. There were 5 tries in the opening 27 minutes. Wiese's almost gone through in centre field, scragged just about by Stewart, but the Boks have come storming out of the changing rooms and they have the ball 20 metres from the English line. Advantage should be over for that knock-on, so England just need to keep their discipline because the Boks are looking hungry at the start of this second half. Pieter-Steph du Toit, one of the 3 try scorers for South Africa. Grant Williams finds the mighty Eben Etzebeth. Offside given by the referee, advantage being played. So England don't keep their discipline. Cheslin Kolbe's dancing and he's got through. Oh, that's mesmerising from Kolbe. He gets the offload away to Fassi. 7 metres out, South Africa. Can they get quick ball, the visitors? Can they extend their 2-point lead? They have it. It's thrown by Williams. American football style. They're puncturing holes again through Wiese. Williams back to Libbok. Libbok goes deep to Damien Dealandi, who kicks. And the advantage was over, so it will be a free kick. So England, maybe Matt Dawson, can get out of that little onslaught unscathed.
Wow, that's a little bit of a let-off there.
Advantage over.
You've just heard the referee, Andrew Bracer, say advantage over, but anyway.
Maybe he thought Kolbe was going to score because he would have almost bet on him against Stewart. Stewart did well to stop him one-on-one.
Yeah, really good change of angle from Freddie Stewart there because I mean, one-on-one, you just potentially he is the last person on the planet that you want to come up to. Aaron said, maybe you look at Cheslin Kolbe instead, and they're both on the same side. Every time they get the ball, it's like having 2, I don't know, Jason Robinsons in your side that you've got no idea. I don't even think they know where they're going, to be perfectly honest, but they always seem to break the line. And I was looking at the stats, they're both under 5'10". I mean, they're not big fellas.
Yes, kind of the wonder of this African side. It's the combination of the power with the dazzling footwork from the likes of Kolbe and Arendse. They have it from the line out, South Africa. Libbok into centre field. Wiese trundles up to the 10-metre line. 2 minutes into the second half, and they got advantage again. If they Fassi's away, give this to Arendse. Arendse's going to score, surely. He's one-on-one with Slightholme, but he's dived in and scored. And South Africa do strike at the start of this half. In the first half, it was Kolbe. The second half, it's Arendse. If one doesn't get you, the other one will. And the lead now 7.
Too easy, I'm afraid. And I mean, a lovely execution from the back line, but Wiese on the carry up the midfield, too easy. The ground made 6 or 7 yards. That created a blisteringly fast ruck, and Ashe, South Africa, made mincemeat with the overlap.
Cradle after it, looking at a forward pass. I don't think it was. It was a great set-piece move on the second phase for South Africa. England were just far too tight in defence. 3 stuck around the ruck, which left the lads on the outside, Freeman, Slade, marking 3 or 4. Well, it looks like they're going to look at it.
They are going to look at the last pass. On first viewing, it didn't seem to be too much of an issue, but then there is a replay, maybe it's the angle that shows Fassi's hands maybe pointing forwards, and that's I suppose what you get home advantage. Ben Whitehouse has listened to the crowd and has given, or has told Andrew Brace to have a look at it. It's one of those classic momentum ones. He's moving. Oh, it's a tough call, this, isn't it?
You can't look at this angle.
No, that's the wrong angle.
From behind, this is the one. I don't think it's that forward.
Okay, you're on screen. Okay, it's going to be a no try. Pass is clearly forward under the hands. They're going to go back for a penalty. Back on the 15 for 4, jumping across.
Well, that noise from the crowd will tell you it's been ruled out for a forward pass. In real time, it did look fine. There is an angle where it looks like it's going forward from the hands, but they're moving at such pace. There's always going to be that momentum question about, obviously the ball travels forward. Is it a forward pass? Big question. No try. South Africa did have an advantage, so they will have the penalty, and Libbok will prod it into the corner. But England survive so far in this second half. England 17, South Africa 19, as Libbok kicks the corner. Matt Dawson.
Yeah, that's a let-off for sure. Time to make the most of it from England perspective. Dust yourself off. Right, here we go. Big defence yet again. South Africa, power play in your 22. Time for England to front up and get themselves out of here, even if you're giving away 3 points, but not 7.
4 minutes into this second half, 5 live from the BBC as RJ Snyman takes it at the front of the line out for the Springboks, and Mbonambi finds de Allende. Simple move, bringing the inside centre in. He crosses the gain line. England get a penalty though. Ben Earl on the floor. Fantastic Jacqueline work from the Saracen. England haven't had much joy this autumn in that area. But de Allende crossed the gain line. Earl got on the ball and showed a good picture to the referee. So, Matt Dawson, as you implored, England have managed to snuff out that block attack. Now they've got to get a few things right in a row to grow into the second half. It's been all the visitors 4 minutes into this second period.
Yeah, ball in hand time now, isn't it, for England? First play, would have spoken about it at half-time. What are England going to do? Beautiful position. Win the line out, go through your play, execution, something England have been very good so far this game in their set plays.
And that's another good set play as Itoje takes it at the tail of the line out. They charge away through Chandler Cunningham South, who hasn't been quite as prominent this week as he was last. England 17, South Africa 19. This time Van Poortvliet isn't pressured. That'll be a relief for the Leicester 9. Matt Dawson pointing at something, Matt?
Yeah, Luke Cowan-Dickie is set to come on, which I
find... England win a penalty just as you speak, so England have a good bit of territory now.
It's more the South African side I was looking at. Andre Pollard is coming on. I did think how long we'd seen him into the second half. I just don't think Libbok has managed the South African team very well today at all. They've had a few opportunities and they just haven't been able to finish it off. But 5 minutes into the second half is quite drastic, I think, from Rassie.
Well, 2 big calls. Oh yeah, to add to that South African substitution. I spoke about it this week on the BBC website. I can't get my head around why you would take your captain off. Yeah, I think it was 60 minutes previously, but even the fact of Luke Cowan, unless Jamie George is carrying an injury, why would he even be loitering around for you to look over to the bench to see your replacement as if he's going to come on? I really don't get it.
Well, South Africa have brought on their hooker. Marks is on for Mbonambi, and as flagged by Chris Ashton, Andre Pollard, 2 World Cups and all, on for Manie Libbok. England had the penalty. They've got the line out 20 metres out. It is all happening here at the Allianz Stadium, Twickenham. England with a good driving line out. It stops. Will they use it? Yes. Van Poortvliet to Henry Slade, slightly above him. He throws a dummy, crashes into de Allende. Good little charge from Henry Slade. Does Smith think drop goal for the lead? The gap's only 2. He is in the pocket. He's directing play like a quarterback. Ellis Genge on a charge, much better from Genge. England 15 out, to the left they come. Smith, again not the best pass for him. Then it's gone forward, has it off a South African? Or no, is it back off England? Therefore, the men in white, just short of the 22. Chandler Cunningham South into Steenkamp, who is still on. So Oxenchae off, back for Marcus Smith. Does he think drop goal? No, he goes crossfield for Freeman. That is on a dime for Freeman. He's got it! Tommy Freeman's 5 metres short. What a kick from Smith, what a catch from Freeman. Van Poortvliet to left, Jamie George up to the line. Just short, inches. England needs some composure now. They've got men to the left or to the right. What are they going to do? They come to the right. Ollie Lawrence sets it up, inches short, the Bath man. 2 points in it. A try puts England ahead, urged on by 80-odd thousand. Itoje at the back of this right, he picks. He scored last weekend, he was so nearly the match winner. They've got advantage, England, they've got to use this. Smith wants it, will he get it? Or will the forwards keep driving? Up to the line they go. They've got to use this opportunity. They've got to take their chances against the double world champions, and they don't get better than this. A metre out they drive. There for Van Poortvliet, deep to Smith. Smith, out it goes to Freddie Stewart. He hurls it over to Henry Slade, who scores. They took their time with the forward carries. Smith wanted it, he got it. And then Freddie Stewart's Hail Mary out to Slade. And England lead to the delight of thousands in white.
Marcus Smith, he is the puppet master at the moment. Even when he's not got the ball, pointing, directing, giving a brilliant kick to Freeman that you called there, Chris Jones, but then just so much patience for that fast ruck, and it was all a little bit trundly going to the line, but then Jack Van Poortvliet just saw. Are we waiting for another forward pass here, Chris?
I wonder if it's Stewart's pass to Slade. Ben Whitehouse has got involved again. What are you saying, Ashley? Henry Slade's coming off now. Jamie George is rushing forward. Let's listen to the officials.
You'll be able to see it.
Well, and what's going to make this really difficult? It's right on the 5 metre line.
It's actually foul play they're looking at.
Is that after?
They're looking at foul play in a ruck.
Yeah, Maratoji's gone for a neck roll. Just keep an eye on Marks going for the ball. Maratoji used his right hand round the head and then drifts to the left-hand side, pulling hold of his neck. Unfortunately, you just can't do that.
One more here.
Yeah, so it's not the forward pass. It's a clear by Itoje on Marks. It's going to be soft if it is ruled out, but with that neck contact, he's slightly playing with fire as Itoje. Let's listen in.
He's coming back to you now. We're just finishing this angle off. You're on.
All eyes and ears out.
It's going to be a no try.
No try.
Clearly around the neck, full white. Neck roll here.
Listen, England fans, you can boo all you like. Unfortunately, that's the right call. Unfortunately, you can't go anywhere near the. Not only was it a neck tackle, but it was a neck roll going into sort of a crop roll, which is very, very dangerous for those players. So that was an easy one.
There's foul play here, but there's also foul play for them. Hey, Jamie, all I can do is report what my TMO gives me, okay? And that's why I'm giving. But we've lost a player now because of this. If it's foul play, he'll come back, okay? He'll come back to me. He will. Can you check it? Then he's clearing off everything in the background, okay?
Well, Jamie George said there was then foul play on Henry Slade. And George. So this is fascinating. So the try's been disallowed for Maratoji's neck roll. And then Jamie George is saying there was foul play on Henry Slade, which forced Slade off for an HIA. George is now coming off himself for Luke Cowan. Dickey is flagged by Matt Dawson.
Freeman will have gone to 13 too now.
Andrew Brace says that Ben Whitehouse will be checking that foul play or suspected foul play that George was asking about. It is all going on at Twickenham. England 17, South Africa 19. Both sides have been a try disallowed in the second half.
On the 10, please.
Harem, scare stuff here. Both sides are going to feel really hard done by, but evened itself out.
And they've overthrown South Africa, so it's there for England. Ben Earl carries. Luke Cowan-Dickie got it from the line out. Here's Marcus Smith inside to Genge. Genge took it. Bit of a no-looker from Smith. 2 points in it. Half an hour left. 5 Live Sport. Maro Itoje. Oh, good ball from Smith. Ollie Lawrence waiting to throw a pass, and he shrugs off Etzebeth. England playing with real belief and confidence now. Trying not to be too affected by that disallowed try. Here's Smith on the gain line. Caught. Had a few options, but kept hold of the ball, did Marcus Smith. I tell you what does Steve Borthwick do with Harry Randall and George Ford? Does he keep faith in Van Poortvliet and Smith? One or the other or both? Here goes George Martins at a really big game, the Leicester lock. He sets it up now. 30 metres out, slow ball for England. Back it goes, is Smith thinking crossfield again? Yes, he is. That may have gone a little bit too far. Tester for the box, taken by Pollard, who doesn't call the mark. And now South Africa break away. Oh, penalty. Celebrations from England. There's the escort law into force. Blocking from the box. Smith's got to kick this goal, hasn't he?
Big matches, every point counts. He's got to put England into the lead. The crowd are going to go bonkers. South Africa have to change the way that they play. It's going to get a little bit looser. Yeah, come on, it's got to be 3 points. Yeah, to my point, Jamie George, where's your captain? Where's your England captain who's in the game, in the momentum? And now you've got Maro Itoje, you've got Sam Underhill, you've got Ellis Genge making all these decisions. Get out of it. Am I out of sync with the way that the game is going now, Chris Ashton? Is there no need for a captain to be on the pitch for closer to 80 minutes?
Well, I think Steve names about 4 vice captains, doesn't he? So I think he makes sure there's enough out there in terms of leadership. The way the hooker plays now, he's going to come off the pitch at some point, although Jamie could definitely do 80 minutes. I think that was a harsh penalty there against South Africa. I know refs are really hot on this, but Deerland, they hardly moved at all. I mean, I'm glad England are hopefully going to go in the lead here.
Well, England will feel that before that Itoje neck roll, they had penalty advantage that then wouldn't have been used up. So much is happening in this first 10 minutes. And all things told, England probably deserve 3 points. Smith takes those 3 and England lead. England 20, South Africa 19.
Yeah, I would say over the first 12 minutes of this second half, England are probably good for that 3 points. I know South Africa have had their opportunities, but they've got back into the game after a fast start from South Africa, and now South Africa have got to chase. Very different complexion on the game, but don't give there you go. Don't give sloppy ball away. Guess what happens?
Sloppy stuff, exactly that. Loose ball. England again were caught at the back of the ruck. They've knocked it on. Scrum South Africa. So as this forms, let's get the latest in the second half of Turkey-Wales in the Nations League. Chris Coles.
Late drama in Turkey. The hosts have just missed an 89th minute penalty. Rodon fouling Akgun. Kerem Aktürkoğlu steps up, rolls it towards the corner. It scrapes the outside of the post and goes wide. Wales are 3 minutes away from an excellent point. Turkey 0, Wales 0. 92 minutes, 5 minutes of added on time.
Thanks, Chris. Come back to us when it's full time there. What's the latest at Chelsea in the WSL? Andy Stevenson.
It's still goalless between Chelsea and Man City, the top 2 in the WSL. We've played 69 minutes. Man City have looked sharper in the second half, but Chelsea have still had the best chance. There was a brilliant jinking run into the area from Erin Cuthbert, but she pulled her shot wide. They still look the more likely to Chelsea to break the deadlock, but with 20 minutes to go, it's 0-0.
Commentary on Sports Extra from Stamford Bridge. Later here on 5 Live, we'll roll straight into coverage of France against New Zealand. This Autumn Nations Series continues to deliver, and whatever you say about this England team and the little losing run they're on, these games have been absolute thrillers, haven't they? All 3 of them. Fabulous. We have been royally entertained, in the balance, tight, tense, full of incident. Should mention, by the way, Tom Roebuck on for his home debut, won 1 cap in the summer in Japan. He's on for Henry Slade, who's getting an HIA. Scrum South Africa, Matt Dawson, and we often know how this ends, don't we?
Yeah, that's a phrase that I don't think any of the listeners have been looking forward to. Scrum to South Africa, because you know they are going to get possession, you know that probably minimum they're going to get a penalty, maybe get a freebie.
Oh, penalty
there we
England.
Always
Well.
good to give it the kiss of death, because that means that England, or maybe I should be a bit more neutral. Penalty to England, there you go.
Well, it's more the surprise, isn't it? Every time the scrum has gone down up to this point, Andrew Brace has gone straight away South African penalty. This time, it's a big pressure reliever, but also a bit of a belief builder for England as well. 54 minutes gone, England 20, South Africa 19. Smith clears, not too far, but it will be an England line out, still camped in their own half between the 20 and the 10 metre line. Chris Ashton.
Yeah, this part of the game has been England's Achilles heel so far. This game is just exiting well. It's just not what they've been able to do. They've struggled. Let's hope they can do this one clean.
Luke Cowan-Dickie, no, it's not clean. It's won by Chandler Cunningham South. Oh, it's won from Chandler Cunningham South by the Springboks. Two knock-ons first by Cunningham South, and it will be a South Africa scrum. It is in the balance. England 20, South Africa 19, 55 gone.
I think Steve Borthwick no doubt will be thinking strategically what can he do to change the picture. Chris Ashton and I are looking at each other about, sort of mouthing to each other about Jack Van Poortvliet. His service has just gone a little bit scrappy. He's not finding
on the arm.
Yes, good call, Ashy. So, probably prompted by the screen or by TMO Ben Whitehouse, television match official, the reason Chandler Cunningham South lost it is because the South African player took out his arm. England penalty. Smith lamps it into Springbok territory. Line out England.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit better, but I have to agree with Chris Ashton when he's talking about those penalties. Maybe one part of Marcus Smith's game he's played brilliantly today.
The biggest blip is the length of his kicking.
He's got the length, just the direction. It's so invaluable to that extra 10 yards.
Ben Earl from the aforementioned Smith, centre field. Van Poortvliet goes to the air. That's a perfectly weighted kick. Who's going to claim this one? That's definitely knocked on by South Africa. There for England. Stewart's up from fullback. He kicks it away. He's kicked advantage away. That's frustrating for England. Okay. Smith now from the South African kick. He sends it up. It's just maybe going into its shell the game a bit, perhaps understandably so. Pollard against Freeman. Good take, Pollard. The kind of composure that we've seen at 2 successive World Cups when he's been the Springbok hero. South Africa have it. They trail by 1 as Visa sets it up a few metres outside their own 22. England 20, South Africa 19 as Grant Williams kicks. This might feed an English counter-attack as Stewart comes forward. He's wrapped up by Khaleesi, but safely in possession of Freddie Stewart. And now Matt Dawson, you're really looking how England go about things tactically as we get towards the final quarter where these games are won and lost.
Just keep the ball, Chris. England go through the phases. I tell you what, Chris Ashton, just keep on commentating. I need to shut up. Every time I keep trying to say something positive about England, it gets flipped over.
It's definitely tactical. England, whenever they're getting anywhere near the halfway line, are not playing at all. Marcus Smith's hands up straight away, telling Jack Van Poortvliet to kick it straight back. Jack's caught a knock in the elbow. He's holding his elbow on the right-hand side, so he might be forced into a change at scrum half anyway.
Feels a similar story to the first few weeks in the sense that England, when they have sort of structure-shaped, slowish ball, that's where they kind of aren't too sure. When the game's breaking up, then
it's 60 minutes. It's always 60 minutes.
It's extremely difficult part of the game because you are hanging. Your brain is the mush. The decisions, everything's a little bit blurry. You don't want to make mistakes. You're looking at the scoreboard. There's 1 point in it. The clock's ticking. But we just want England to back themselves in those positions and keep doing what they've been doing for 60 minutes.
Well, Handré Pollard, no surprise, is going for goal. As a goal kicker, there aren't too many better to have laced them up from 50 metres. Libbok couldn't nail it from this position, but up steps Pollard. He's whacked it. Has he got the distance? Off the crossbar and over. Handré Pollard can do no wrong from the tee. The box lead edging towards the hour mark. What a treat of a final 20 we have in store. England 20, South Africa 22 now. Did Wales get that point in Turkey, Chris Coles?
They did, Chris, they did. An excellent result for Wales. Resilient defending at its best And some luck too, Turkey missing an 89th minute penalty, Kerem Aktürkoğlu hitting the outside of the post. Wales also hit the post in the first half, courtesy of Harry Wilson's effort. But this was all about the outstanding Welsh defence. And while the rugby team might be struggling, the football future looks bright. Craig Bellamy, now 5 games unbeaten at the start of his reign. Turkey 0, Wales 0.
Great stuff, Chris. Yeah, what a game that is for the rugby union players tomorrow against Australia after 10 straight defeats. But as Chris Cole's outlining there, the footballers on a good run. England 20, South Africa 22. England have it on the halfway line. Jack Van Poortvliet, the scrum half, will send it up to the sky, asking Freeman to chase. There will be some tired bodies. This is why Steve Borthwick will look to his replacement. Can he get it right with the men off the bench? Can he have that Midas touch to get England over the line against the double world champions? Back it comes from Williams to Pollard. South Africa may go to the boot plenty with Pollard now on. Through comes Stewart. Well, he went to catch it Aussie rule style. The crowd think he was taken in the air. It's back in Springbok possession. They have it, Grant Williams loses it, and the first knock was by Stewart. Well, the referee has actually said it's an England scrum, and there's a stoppage. More replacements maybe. Yep, on comes Quacker Smith. We're seeing a replay whether there, well, yeah, penalty England. The crowd were on it. They thought the Stewart was taken out in the air. Referee agreed. England have the penalty. And I tell you what, Freddie Stewart's taken a battering with those high balls, and more often than not, he's come up trumps.
Yeah, I think the referee was fair there. He was just playing on. I think he would have always come back for that. It was close to a fair challenge. Maybe just grabbed hold of Freddie Stewart's arm. So I have no problem with that. A bit of play on and then bring it back. It's good use of the TMO.
One player England won't be excited to see is Quagga Smith and Reinach coming on. Smith is so fast over the ball, so when he tires bodies, he will be all over it. And Reinach is lightning fast around the breakdown. As we mentioned about the South African bench, is being unloaded.
It's about 10.
Yeah, I wonder, just a penny for those thoughts that Randall has going through his head, standing in the number 21 shirt on the sideline, excited about going on. But when you look up and see the enormity of these South African forwards, yeah, it is incredibly intimidating. So hopefully mind on the game, and a perfect opportunity for someone like Randall to come in with an attacking line out.
And a big hug from Van Poortvliet to Randall, who is on bang on 60. Still no sign of George Ford stripping off. Oh, as I say that, he's on his feet. Henry Slade, rather than Smith, did the line kicking, so they wait for distance. They got it. England 10 metres out, 2 points in it, an hour gone on 5 Live. England 20, South Africa 22. Can they get a more motoring? Through comes some massive South African bodies to haul them all to the ground. Dan Cole is on, the benches emptied. It's been a breathless game. No wonder there are some tired starters. Randall, out it comes to Earl. He's been much more like his 2024 self, Ben Earl, after a quiet couple of weekends. George Martin's been good as well, wearing 5. England with field position again. Smith is just chilling in the backfield as Genge comes on a good line. Can they get over? Well, they've got over the top South Africa. They've got the penalty. They've got to find a way. The likes of Malcolm Marx, the likes of Quacker Smith are a joke on the floor, and even though Itoje was up quickly, they couldn't flip Marx.
Man, that was like, there was no space there.
Do that again, you go on to the bin, okay?
Well, Andrew Brace just giving a talking to Maro Itoje again for the neck roll. Right, we've got to go to Chelsea in the WSL. Andy Stevenson.
2 goals for Chelsea in a matter of minutes. The first, a great counter-attack. The Colombian Mayra Ramirez muscled Alana Kennedy off the ball and fired past Ayaka Yamashita in the City goal. The visitors thought it should have been a foul against Ramirez, but the referee said no. And then moments later, Guro Reiten has just pulled out a brilliant finish, curling one into the far corner to make it 2-0. Chelsea almost scoring a third as I speak to you. If Chelsea can hang on, they go 2 points clear of City with a game in hand.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Over on Sports Extra, Chelsea women against Manchester City women in the WSL. 18 minutes to go here at Twickenham. England 20, South Africa 22 as Damien Deolandi gets away. Over it goes to Colby. Colby stepping. Oh, that is unbelievable. Cheslin Colby, that might be the match winner for the box. These wingers are from a different planet. This man's from a different planet. Cheslin Colby, a magnificent finish again. He's got a second, and just like that, the box extend their lead.
England are set. England are in a brilliant white wall across the line, and then sort of on the in call where you usually see that consistency of white wall, it was 6s and 7s. There were one person out of the line, someone half a pace in front of the line, and when you're playing against the best in the world, you give them dog legs to run through, and the likes of Jesse Creel, they don't need a second invitation. You can't be missing tackles and diving ahead of the line, Ashley.
No, it's two boys there. Ben Earl, Henry Sladers ran straight through. Yeah. The other thing is, as soon as they make a break, you know, if they give it to either of these wingers, they will just finish anything.
Pollard for the extra 2. Oh, look at that. From the right touchline, with Pollard on, everything's going to be kicked, isn't it? Right. 9 points the gap. England have to come from a pretty decent gap now. England 20, South Africa 29. 16 minutes to go, Matt Dawson.
Plenty of time. It's plenty of time. I mean, listen, you know South Africa are going to be tough at this time with the last 20 minutes. You know it's going to be tough. And you know you've got to get a bounce of the ball. You know you've got to be watertight in everything that you do. You've got to be controlled, and that's the one message that you'd like to think.
Oh man,
well, they've got it again, South Africa. Has that gone out of play? Just about, but Smith was in a one-on-one with Cheslin Colby.
That's the difference with
beat
Pollard.
him in the air. Well, just the strategy, the kick, the accuracy.
How comfortable he is at just holding the ball and putting it every single time on the money for the wingers.
But that's on the front foot.
But he knows, he's just so aware of it, and he takes it off everyone. My kick, bang, it's on the money for everybody.
I don't disagree with you, but that being on the front foot means that the defence have to be in a very, very different mindset. It's not a static ruck where England would tend to do that crossfield kick, is it? It's as if it's just another option.
Insert good.
England, they win it, then lose it. Chandler Cunningham South, but they get a penalty. Again, South Africa take Cunningham South illegally in the air.
Early drive.
And at the risk of stating the obvious, Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton, England have to score next. England 20, South Africa 29.
This is where I have an issue around all of this leadership and the multiple vice captains. Who's leading this team? Who's genuinely the captain? Who can stand up and go, right, fellas, this is what we're going to do? Because every decision I've seen so far, there's just a conflab between the vice captains that are on the field. You need a point of contact. You need, if you've got Khaleesi in South Africa, if he makes a call, everyone's like, yeah, I'm there, 100%, no questions asked.
Smith clears up to the halfway line, so England do have the line out. Luke Cowan-Dickie to throw in, and well won by George Martin under pressure from Etzebeth, who's just been a customary nuisance today, the great lock. Twickenham ever so slightly muted, but that will cheer them up. England have the penalty. Randall kicks for Lawrence. Can Ollie Lawrence get this? No, taken by Pollard, but England have the penalty. And this is where, guys, they've got to go for broke with these line kicks. Don't prod it 10 metres. Try and properly put play into the South African 22, because they're not going to get a load of opportunities. As Andrew Brace is coming to talk to Siya Kolisi. Let's listen in.
3 penalties at the line out more. Okay, 2 in the air, 1 then collapsing. Tidy up, please.
Pretty clear message from Andrew Brace as Smith prepares to try and nudge this ball as close as possible to the South African 22 and inside it.
I mean, where do you want the kick here, Ashley?
In the 22. I don't think he's made it. I know it's a tight angle, but
it's a better one. Yeah.
We're in the 22, which is something we struggled with so far in the second half. We seem to have been trapped in our own half for the vast majority of the first part of this second half. Need to make something of this, just take some points away. We're still in it, 9 points behind.
Well, Etzebeth is off for South Africa. I think there'll be plenty of England fans who'll be delighted to see the back of him. England 20 metres out, trailing by 9, 13 minutes left. A captivated Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. Watch on as England take it through Cunningham South. Can they get anything moving at the Mall? It's already stopped once, says the referee. Now it edges forward a bit from England. Use it is the instruction. Out to Slade. Slade to Lawrence. Lawrence steps. They've got to be really careful with these South African jackalers on the floor. There's a Toje round the corner. Good to see him carrying the ball. Now Randall to Cunningham South. Better from England, but it's loose and they've lost it. And Vincent Koch dives on the ball. And Cheslin Colby's doing the kicking. It was taken back inside. If this goes out, it'll be an England line out. Has it bounced inside? I think it bounced just inside. Colby, everything he's touching is turning to gold, and England have coughed up a really promising attacking position.
What a player he is. Finished from anywhere. Got the hands, got the deft touch, and then just swivel onto his right foot.
He's played 10 before for Toulouse and other teams.
Some of the hits going in there from the South African defence. England just seem like they've nowhere to go. They're getting battered back.
England line out then, 12 minutes left. They win it at the front of the line out and they peel away. Oh, that's a wild pass to Randall. And they're just looking a bit scraggy now, England. Just losing their shape and their structures. Although a lot of their best rugby today has been when the game has broken up. And South Africa, you feel, have just controlled the tempo and the territory. There might be a yellow card here though, as South Africa infringe again. Yeah. That's Steenkamp going off. And England will play most of the rest of this game against 14 men. I'm not sure what Steenkamp's been penalised for. I dare say accumulation from all the penalties.
I think from where the referee has gone for the penalty, it's in the line out, and that's particularly the bone of contention for Andrew Brace, who went up to Siya Kolisi to say, I've had enough of this at the line out. You're causing so many infringements, one more and you're off, and true to his word. So come on, here we go. This is perfect position. But again, where's the focus? What's the drill?
Lukhanyo Am, another World Cup winner. They're everywhere in this box squad. He's on for Damien Diolande. This game is not done yet. As referee Brace says, let's go. Slap bang on the 22. England line out. Got to get this right and then put some phases together. Chandler Cunningham South wins it. That's a good maul. They've managed to splinter the box a little bit there, and they've got a penalty. Okay, time for England to profit off this territory gain and this momentum. Cowan Dickey peeled away. Then a Toje found Cunningham's mouth. Good stuff. 5 metres out. There for England and Randall. Randall to Finn Baxter. England 6 metres out. They got numbers to the right. Randall, Alex Dombrand. Under the crossbar goes the Harlequin. There for Harry Randall against 14 men. Randall snipes. He's inches short. Composure needed. Cutting edge needed. England through Dombrand. Couldn't be much closer. 9 points in it. A try would send Twickenham wild. There for England against the 14-men South African defence. They pick and go round the corner. They trundle up to the line. Oh, South Africa got on the ball. Back for the penalty. Now what do England do? You feel they had to keep trying to play, but Mark's got his hands on the ball. And referee Andrew Brace is talking to captain Kolisi again.
So already a player in the bin. Sevens then claps some more, and then we go offside. So I'm very prepared to put somebody else in the bin. Okay, if there's another one here, right? 7 claps some more, then offside here. Okay, pulling players out of the maul. No.
Good English maul. Penalty England.
So you've got it there. 7,
and it looked like England were absolutely clear in what they were going to do from that line out. Totally committed, no distractions.
Over here, mate.
Chandler Cunningham South at the front of the line out, get the ball down and drive the feet. England effectively running the ball down the far touchline from us towards the South African try line. If you were an England back, you may have been a little bit frustrated that the ball hadn't come out slightly wider.
Okay, next one goes.
Ashley.
just kicked the ball. Marcus Smith's kicked the ball. He could have kicked it easily 5 metres, kicked it 7-8 metres out. It's really unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a 7-metre line out though. They go to the front, Cunningham South, now they drive. Oh, it's a free kick. A free kick against England. A dummy throw from Cowan-Dickie. Oh, England had worked a little move at the front of the line out, but Cowan-Dickie dummied. Referee on it, and it's a free kick to the box. And even though England will get the line out, Pollard will just gleefully whack it clear, and he does. And England, you feel, had to take an opportunity there. Camped on the back line, pointless. From that passage, England 20, South Africa 29. Your thoughts on that? Yeah, it's a very slight dummy throw from Luke Cowan-Dickie.
Well, the referee's done very well to see it and to call it, to pull it up, but to the letter of the law, I guess he's right. Oh. A knock on from Harry Randall there. Ike, the spike from Chandler Cunningham South, I think, down to Harry Randall on his toes. Would not have thanked his England teammate for that ball. But even so, you can't help but think it's now going to be more pressure being relieved by South Africa in their scrum. You can't miss those chances, these types of games against this opposition. Just going back when England are pounding the line and they know they've got a penalty.
Not using it.
Why are they not using that advantage?
It's not a clear line of communication, is it? From the scrum half to the forwards to 10. It's experience and it's playing together and it's understanding.
But I would think that would be in their Bible. It would be in their book.
It's pressure.
You get an advantage a yard from the line. What's our free hit policy?
Even if it's a crossfield, it's something, slightly rolling the dice. George Ford, by the way, still on the bench. Remember, he came on 60 minutes twice this series. But Steve Borthwick looks like he's sending Marcus Smith for 80. England 20, South Africa 29. But have England missed their best opportunity of getting back into this game? Camped on the Springbok line and no points to show for it against 14 men as well. And South Africa, with over 1,000 caps of experience, will try and run the clock down, but they've given a penalty away, so England keep getting opportunities.
Yeah, Luke Cowan-Dickie there read it beautifully. South Africa trying to slow it down, run the clock down for their 10 minutes to get back to 15 men. Marcus Smith goes for a slightly longer kick from a narrow angle, gets to about 15 metres from the South African line. But when they do that, when South Africa do go down that short side, Luke Cowan-Dickie just praying, waiting for that slight isolation.
Cunningham South fronts the line out. Can England's maul put South Africa under pressure? Remember, they're already a man down for offences in that area, and England have a little bit of a nudge on, even though Cowan-Dickie's a bit exposed on the side of the maul there. And it's coming back to Randall, out to Henry Slade, to Ollie Lawrence, who's hit well by Jesse Creel. That's excellent from the outside centre. England, very slow ball, big counter-up from the box. Is that coming back for England? No, it's not. Penalty, South Africa. And just that physicality in the middle of the park. England couldn't quite get motoring with the ball, couldn't quite work any kind of pattern with the ball.
Well, they did try, Chris. I think they've got to be brave there. You've had 2-3 goes at it. Once the maul goes down, be brave. Give it to Marcus, let him run, give him some magic, but we don't. We decide to give it Lawrence, who gets absolutely melted by Dylan Day, and then they just pile through the South Africans.
My father had a double knee old school cartilage replacement with one of those, what they call hospital passes, from Henry Slade to Ollie Lawrence. I mean, goodness me, you've probably got time to think when you've caught it. You're like, what have you just given me that ball for?
You feel they've got to try and stay away from the breakdown, given what the box are doing on the floor.
Yeah.
Come up with souls, and then the South Africa have lost their line out, so they're giving England opportunities, and Luke Cowan-Dickie peels away, and Marcus Smith wants it. He's saying to his forwards, get out the way, and they are actually playing from deep here now. Tommy Freeman's off his wing. Good ball out there to Stewart. He should have got that away, should he, Stewart? But England have made 10-15 metres. Can they look after the ball? Randall, Ben Earl, Marcus Smith, Good pick up, Lawrence. Here he goes, trying to get round Malcolm Marks. He goes through the middle, Lawrence. Good tackle, Marks. But England across the gain line. Itoje. Again, they just lost any kind of shape, England, but they still have it. Do they? No. Penalty, South Africa. Whenever it goes to ground, the Boks get on the ball. And when England play, they look dangerous. But South Africa's so dangerous, and England didn't really know where to go there as Itoje was caught. And South Africa will take play back into English territory. England 20, South Africa 29, 75 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes to go. Still South Africa with just the 14 men.
Yeah, I'm bound to, because they're part of the union of the scrum halves, but Harry Randall's got to get a grip of this last 5 minutes. Yeah, he's doing his job in passing and sort of getting to the rucks, but he's not managing the players around him. There's no communication, there's no direction. You know, he should be in the middle. He should be. There's a breakdown in play now. He should be the player in the middle of that forward pack saying, right guys, here are our mistakes. This is where we're getting turned over. Make sure you get to the rucks. Priority, clear the rucks out. Don't get in the way of me and Marcus running the show. Or run off Marcus. Run inside Marcus. Run outside. Doesn't matter. Get off my shoulder. But go and win the balls at the breakdown, because South Africa are competing and slowing us down and winning the penalties. We've just seen there are ample opportunities after 2 or 3 quick phases for England to get the ball in the midfield with plenty of space. Harry Randall's got a huge responsibility, and he needs to step up and communicate, not just be the physical rugby player.
Right, let's go to Andy at Chelsea as we wait for this line out. Andy.
Chelsea have taken a big step towards the 6th WSL title in a row, beating the previously unbeaten Man City 2-0 after a cagey first half. 2 goals in 3 second half minutes from Myra Ramirez and Guro Reiten were enough for Chelsea to make it 7 wins out of 7 and move 2 points clear of City with a game in hand. Sonia Bonpastor's team look pretty unstoppable. Chelsea 2, Man City 0.
Thanks a lot, Andy. 9 points in it here, 4 minutes to go. South Africa have the scoreboard. They've got the possession and territory. The ball is shot out. Oh, it's a penalty against England. Pollard will have a chance to win the game. As Andrew Brace has his right foot out, and you feel South Africa will just slow it down, take a few phases, take the penalty, and Pollard will kick this. He's saying, calm down, everybody. And with 4 minutes to go, Pollard will take the full minute here and try and kick South Africa 12 points clear.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame England for trying to steal that ball in the right. England weren't back on their feet before they were competing for that ball, but you can't blame them. There are only a few minutes left. South Africa with a 9-point lead and not interested in a 12-point lead. Chris, they want to go for the corner. They want to go for the jugular.
Well, I would have put any kind of money on Andre Pollard kicking that.
Doesn't really make too much of a difference, does it? 9
or 12, still 2 scores, I suppose, yeah. But with the time they could have taken, and with the man in the bin,
not interested, are they?
They want to maybe make England toil a bit in this final few minutes. England 20, South Africa 29, 3 minutes to go. England have had opportunities. It's been the story of the autumn, but they're staring down the barrel of a 3rd straight defeat this November and a 5th straight loss in a row. South Africa win the line out. England working hard, but the Boks edging forward, body splintering all over the place. And it is there for Cobus Reinach, who finds Wilco Louw's back on. And now Peter Steph du Toit, who will never stop going, even with the game ticking towards 80. Reinach, Waka Smith, the replacement forwards doing some work here. There for South Africa. Malcolm Marks, how good has he been on the floor? Maybe not in the set piece, but some telling turnovers, and South Africa still have it in their possession. Pollard's back for the drop goal here. Reinach, Pollard drops this to definitely win it. Distance is okay, and just like George Ford a fortnight ago, to the right of the post. So England have the 22, and they've got to go quickly. Chris Ashton.
Yeah, nothing on there for South Africa. England defended really well, so nothing lost for him. Sticky having a go at the drop goal. It's just turning down the clock for them. 2 minutes, England need to come up with something here. Short kick-off.
Yeah, Marcus Smith, he was going to go the full 80, so interesting from Steve Borthwick, having only played him for an hour in the first game, moved him to fullback in the second. This time it looks like George Ford won't get on to win a 99th cap. The game is 90 seconds until its conclusion. The gap is 9, and South Africa have done what South Africa do and just managed to wrestle the momentum, keep England out, and they're going to record another win against England. Smith takes the free kick, and they've got to go from Smith is caught, as England have to go from 85 metres now. And you do feel, don't you, when Marcus Smith's on the floor, where is kind of England's decision making coming from, as Randall goes back to Freddie Stewart, who just whacks it downfield.
Yeah, and whacks it off the pitch, which is not where it needs to be. At the very least, it needed to be in a position where England could compete for the ball with only 1 minute left and 9 points adrift. I mean, England, listen, they have thrown themselves into the last 3 weeks, and they are showing that they can challenge. They are a distance away from South Africa, of course, but they're still showing to me that they can challenge. There are still plenty of positives to come out of this.
Marks throws, Snyman takes it at the line out and then just pops it down to Malcolm Marks, and now driven on by Lukhanyo Am, at one point one of the best centres in the world. England do get the penalty. They've just got to smash it downfield or tap and go. I think it was Ben Earl or maybe Luke Cowan-Dickie won that penalty. Smith will go for the line out, so England will end the game in South African territory, but with 27 seconds to go, they don't have time to score twice, Chris Ashton.
No, they don't. They've got to finish positive here. I think just not been able to be clinical at all in this second half in the South African half, especially not managed to put enough phases together. A try here to finish would be nice.
Over the line out it goes. Smith takes it, didn't go to hand. As big counter ruck from Sia Khaleesi. Chandler Cunningham South then charges on 25 metres out to the left. Ben Earl, a bit isolated maybe, helped out by Dom Brandt. It's then been ripped and it's been whacked out of play by South Africa. It may well have been Cheslin Kolbe, whoever it was, and not huge celebrations from the box. Perhaps that's a sign of where they are and how dominant they've been in the world game of late. They've come and won at Twickenham by 9 points. England pushed them really close, a great game in large parts, but opportunities went begging for England to really keep it close at the end. And the final score at Twickenham, England 20, South Africa 29, as both sets of players shake hands, Matt Dawson.
Yeah, not quite the ending that maybe we were expecting just before half-time, where both teams sprinted in with fabulous running rugby either end of the pitch. But ultimately, as I've just said, England can challenge at this level, but they are learning very, very quickly that the little nuances, the little mistakes, the little errors at this level are magnified enormously. Whether it's just the things like touch kicks and making an extra 10 or 15 yards and metres and putting pressure on the opposition, whether it's just the accuracy of some of the passing or the decisions that were made when England had possession. They're just the nuances that are the difference that South Africa get right with pace and power, and they punished England today and really sort of ground England's face into their own turf in the last few minutes.
And Rassie Erasmus, Ashley, the South African head coach, taking some selfies with the Springboks fans behind him. Your verdict?
South Africa got the job done. I think you could tell by the way Rassie spoke this week, he knew today was going to be hard. Probably with an hurt in England after the past other two narrow defeats, he knew it was going to be a physical game. Some of his players have come into this from the hard rugby championship win too, so they'll be hopeful for some rest over the coming weeks to get it done here. I think they'll be really happy with it. England well in touch and distance with these teams, there's no doubt about that. I think the screaming thing for me is it's always just a different area. I think today was the exits. We just couldn't get to grips with clearing our own territory really easily and releasing any sort of pressure. We put ourselves back under pressure far too many times, and when we make breaks we didn't finish, whereas when South Africa makes breaks they scored.
Well, Sonia, not quite the grandstand finish of the last 2 weekends, but a familiar tale. England close, but no cigar. England 20, South Africa 29.
You just stole my line. Look, I've written that down.
That's proof. We need a photo of that as proof. I didn't see it from here. Sorry.
Third game in a row. Close, but no cigar. Yeah, New Zealand, Australia, and now South Africa. England falling agonisingly short. But as Matt Dawson has said, they are challenging, but they can't quite get over the line. I mean, when you, on the face of it, first of all, Matt, because Chris is going to go and get some reaction from both camps now down in the dressing rooms. Overall, you know, South Africa outscored England 5-2. They deserved that victory, didn't they? They proved why they're the world champions.
Yeah, there's no question that South Africa were the better side, and I think England probably would have quite rightly prepared as the underdogs. They looked motivated, they looked very much up for this game, and they showed from the off that they have the armoury, the capabilities to challenge and to worry the opposition. But you know, it's not, the game's never won in the first 20 minutes, and too many times England are finding themselves there and thereabouts, whether it's 2 points behind or 1 point ahead, with the finish line, you know, in the distance, there ready to take, and that's when certain individuals need to step up. And it's very difficult from the outside, whether you've been out of the game for a few years or you're Chris Ashton been out for a year. It's very difficult to know who on the pitch are making those calls and making those decisions. But there is definitely still a pattern around this England side, and have been for a number of years. When it comes to those close games, England don't win them, and it's decision making. It's the top 2 inches. It's, you know, the old phrase is, you know, body on fire, head in the fridge. All right, cool, calm, collected. What do we need to do when we're 2 points behind? What do we need to do when we're 1 point ahead to put some pressure on the opposition, to make the opposition look comfortable? And England made it a little bit too easy for South Africa. They coughed the ball up, they coughed the kickoff up, giving penalties away. Not, you know, the frustration that Chris Ashton is feeling with every penalty that goes into touch, and it's like 10 metres away where it should be 25 metres away. They do make an enormous difference when they all add up.
England just going to nest, obviously in their white jerseys, just going down into a big huddle. I wonder, Chris, if you were in that huddle right now with England, you know, what emotions would you be feeling? You've lost all 3 games this autumn.
Well, I think they've been in all the games. Well, they have been in all the games up until 60 minutes. Today was similar. I was going to say against Australia they were winning. So today I think they were in it again. It's just frustrating, I think. The big moment came here, the big swing in momentum came when the De Lande break and Cheslin Kolbe try. It was on the halfway line. They really should have handled the attack. It was 2-on-1. He bust straight through De Lande, clean through. Cheslin Kolbe sidestep, slight home try. That's the difference. Then that was it. Then that was the game done. It's 9 points. You've no coming back really against a team like this. Up until that point, England were well in this game and still could have gone on to win it had they just done some small areas better. But I feel like we're saying that, we've said that every week so far.
And it does feel like it is small margins, isn't it? I mean, today, what could have been the fundamental difference for England, do you think? What are those small areas?
Well, I think it's changed every week.
We could probably write a book on it, but...
Yeah, it's changed every week. That's, I think, a frustration. The first week was the shut-up shop against New Zealand. Last weekend, they couldn't stop Australia scoring tries towards the end. And then tonight, they just couldn't exit. They couldn't stop getting charged down and just release any sort of pressure in their own half to give themselves an opportunity in the South African half. So they'll look back and it'll be another frustrating one. It's always a different area. I think that's so frustrating because you're working on something. Right, we've got that right, and then oh no, this week we've not exited properly. We've not been able to clear and release any sort of pressure. So yeah, that's frustrating for Steve Warthwick.
We'll dial into the game and some of the personalities involved a little bit. Matt, I was listening to you on the podcast that you did on the final whistle after Australia, and you were very strong in saying that this team, England, are a better team than the team that Eddie Jones had in his sort of final days. Do you stand by that in terms of what you've seen across this autumn?
Yeah, I think that their endeavour, I can see how England are trying to play. I get it, and Marcus Smith is integral to this. But I can understand the patterns, and if you're in an opposition side and you're trying to analyse England, they're a tough team to contain. They really are, because they have got strength up front. You know, we thought they were going to creak a little bit in the scrummage. Ellis Gens was getting a little bit of a lesson early on, but he sorted it out and did his analysis at half time, came out, scrums weren't a problem. Physically fine, and the way that England play, the threat that they had, the number of times that England can get that ball slightly wider and look really dangerous, with whether it's Freeman, Slightholme, Ollie Lawrence and Henry Slade. I like the balance. So I think there is definitely there's room for improvement, but I'm enthused about where this team can go.
Let's hear from today's England fullback, Freddie Stewart. He's with Chris Jones.
Yeah, live in the tunnel with the England number 15. Freddie, another tight game that you had opportunities. What's the overriding emotion amongst the players?
Frustration. I think, we had particularly towards the end of the game, a lot of opportunities to get some points on the board to come back into that game. Again, close, but we didn't get over the line, and ultimately, we need to add that to our game. We've got to get these results. You can't fault the effort, you can't fault the fight. We stuck in it, we dug in right to the end there, but we didn't have enough today, and credit to South Africa, they shut out that game very well.
Hard, I know, in the immediate aftermath, but any reason why on 60 you weren't able just to keep that momentum going and finish off those opportunities?
Discipline cost us. We talked in the week about how we wanted to keep our penalty count down, not give them an into the game. I think particularly towards the end of the game, at that critical turning point, we gave too many penalties away, gave them their opportunity to get out, and it cost us. Yeah, and them on the floor were particularly strong in that area. Is that where you've got to kind of adapt and keep it away from their jacklers, or is that easier said than done? Yeah, they bring physicality everywhere on the pitch and in the carry, and particularly at that breakdown. And we were a bit slow, a bit lethargic, getting there quickly, and it cost us a few times. Yeah, it's 5 in a row now, Freddie. 3 in a row this autumn. It's such a frustrating feeling, I imagine. How do you make sure that these results, even though you're there and thereabouts, doesn't kind of knock the confidence and the direction of travel? Yeah, I think we showed today, showed to ourselves, hopefully showed to the fans that we're not far away. That was in for a lot of it a solid performance. We just didn't have enough to get back at the end of the game. Their tries came out of our errors. The charge down out of nothing. It's frustrating that margin is cost us, but look, we'll regroup. We believe in what we're doing, and we'll come back stronger. Yeah. And for you personally, great to be back out there, no doubt. Yeah, just so happy to be out there again. Frustrated with the outcome of the game and a few bits from my game, but look, I'm just happy to have this shirt on again and enjoyed every minute out there. Really appreciate it, Tongsworth. Thanks, Freddie. Thank you very much. Cheers.
South Africa, the winners here today by 29 points to 20, just doing a slow lap of honour around the pitch here to thank their fans. And for England, we've got a few sons and daughters of now on the pitch. Lots of mini-me's running around with mini rugby balls. Chris, is it a little bit like if you imagine a championship football team get promoted and they're up in the Premier League, and suddenly the difference in terms of how much time you have on the ball, how much time you have to think, is just so much more, is so much reduced. It's just it's different. It's such a jump in class. Is that what we're seeing here with the evolution of this team against a side like South Africa?
Yeah, there has to be a bit of that. I think each week they'll have gained experience from it. They're still a relatively new team. I think because Steve took over during the World Cup, we've all thought it's been the same squad and team that he's carried on through, but it's definitely not. There's been a lot of change in between that, and last Six Nations really was the first opportunity that they got to play together, and even during that Six Nations there was a lot of chopping and changing in style of play. Definitely seem a bit more settled over the past 3 weeks in combinations in certain areas of the pitch, but I think the worry is that it's always around the 60-minute mark they've just really drifted against these top teams. I have no doubt in the Six Nations coming up that England are going to perform really well, because they have done really well against some of the strongest teams in the world. They're going to be fine in the Six Nations. It's whether how long it takes for us to get to the point where are we waiting for England to win the Six Nations, or are we going to just be happy with being close?
Okay, maybe that's a question Chris Jones could put to the England skipper, Jamie George.
Yes, Sonia, I'm here live in the tunnel with Jamie George. Chris Ashton just said England can't be happy with getting close. I imagine you echo that emotion.
Absolutely, we're here to win. We are as frustrated as everyone else with the lack of results. And in a similar vein, I think there were parts of that game that we did really well. And overall, I am actually very proud of the team because it was a tough week, lots of questions asked, lots of difficult conversations, and I did think we fronted up. But again, we learned that Test rugby is about fine margins. It's about applying pressure on pressure, and we weren't able to quite do that against a very good team.
What was different today, good or bad, compared to the last couple of weekends?
I think our discipline let us down today. I think the scrum first and foremost was under a bit of pressure. It got a lot better in the second half, which is very pleasing. But again, the discipline count at the ruck, I think we were trying to attack in and around the 22 and we got turned over too many times. So different probably to the games before that, but the way that we attacked, the way that we approached it, the way that we went out there to win the game, I think was pleasing.
It might be a cliche, but taking chances in the opposition 22 against a team like that kind of separates the really good teams, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I genuinely, if you look at it back, we're very close. We're very close to breaking a team like that down. They'll go back for the croc roll, going leading into that last 30 minutes of the game, I think is a different story. But like I said, it's a game of fine margins. It's it's Test match rugby. It's called Test match rugby for a reason. And we got to make sure that we pick ourselves up and get ready for Japan.
And for you personally, Jamie, I'm sure as a skipper you'd love to play 80. Is this something you just have to accept, playing in your position, that you might come off on sort of 45 like today?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I felt all right out there, but if it's the best thing for the team for Luke to come on, I think when you've got the likes of Luke and Theo coming off the bench and the things that they can add, I thought Luke was brilliant off the bench. So it's an 80-minute performance in the two jerseys. So we've got great leadership on the field when I'm off the field. So I don't see a problem there.
And just finally, you said you're close, and I think everyone who's been here the last 3 weekends would definitely agree with that. But how do you then take the next step and turn these defeats into wins?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think we're looking at very different games, 3 very different games over the last 3 games, and probably 3 different reasons as to why we lost it. But what I do know is that we're getting our heads down, we're working incredibly hard, and we need to find fixes. We talk about learning. We are learning, I believe. We need to be able to put that out there on the field, and I think that's a different type of learning, and we're excited about getting a little bit of a break now, and then we'll be ready to go again against Japan.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
That's the England captain, Jamie George, after they were beaten by South Africa 29 points to 20. 3 different games, 3 different reasons why they perhaps didn't get over the line, which is echoing Chris Ashton's analysis of the last 3 Test matches. Let's just touch on the captaincy, Matt Dawson, because this is something you spoke about in commentary. We know Jamie George is a lovely bloke, good rugby player, but he's not playing the second half of Test matches. How big a problem? He says it's not a problem because of the leaders that come on. I know Dawson isn't going to agree. I can see.
Is that what you heard there in that conversation? Because I did not hear that at all. I heard.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I'm
going to ask the question.
A great question from Chris. Just got enough out of Jamie George there to say, he has absolutely made it clear to us all that he is not happy coming off after 45 minutes, and he wants to play as much of the game as possible.
Okay, but he doesn't, because in the last 3 matches he hasn't basically played the second half, has he? So do England need to look for an alternate captain when it comes to the Six Nations? And if so, who?
No, I don't think. I don't think you do need a different captain in the England side. I think he is definitely good. He is definitely good for 65 minutes. Definitely good for 65 minutes. Depending on the type of game, maybe you could get to 70, but he's good for 65 minutes. If that is true, if the stats and the performances show that, then he should be having a conversation with Steve Borthwick. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're in a sports team or you are in your day-to-day working life. You have to have channels of communication to understand why you are working in a certain manner, and I think that's having significant may seem a little bit strong, but it's closer to significant than none. It's having a difference to the way that this England side are performing in the latter stages of the game, because you're in it. He is next. Even little things like the referee is like, well, actually the England captain's not on the pitch now. I've got more control over the England side because my captain's not on. Doesn't matter how many vice captains or who it is going up to him, you're the vice captain. It's a very different picture when you're established, however many caps he's got, Lions, tours. It's a very different conversation when Jamie George is having it opposed to anybody else in the team.
But in your team of 03, there were leaders everywhere, but you knew who the boss was, right? And that was all important. Well, isn't it still in Test match rugby?
Yeah,
obviously
of course.
Alluding to Jono.
It's one of the great parts of our game of rugby is that the leadership is so prominent, and that team back then had probably 12 of the 15 plus people on the bench who were in Clive's leadership meetings, and that's fine. But you know who is dedicated to be making certain decisions within the game. Now that might be, there are defensive leaders, there are attacking leaders, there are scrum leaders, set piece leaders, line out leaders, and then you have the captains, or you have the captain and the vice captain. There are moments in this game where with all due respect to the coaching team, they haven't got a clue what's going on the pitch. They can look as many replays as they like, they can listen to all the comms, they can look at the stats. They have not got a clue what's going on and the detail behind what's happening on the field. That is where you need someone like, Sam Warburton springs to mind. The difference
good example
he made in his career by being a brilliant captain and having the ability to not only play well, but to manage the game, manage his team, manage the opposition, manage the officials. He was awesome at it. But at least he was given a chance to do it.
Lions arguably got a drawn test series out of his moment of captaincy at the end of that third test. Actually, if you've got 4 vice captains on the pitch, albeit I understand George Ford didn't get on, and I don't want to labour this point too much, but does it not just lead to slightly muddled thinking in matches where in the last 20 minutes you need clarity to close out a test match?
Yeah, I've never really understood it. I think it was Eddie that brought it in initially. I didn't understand it then, I don't understand it now. It doesn't help anybody in the team. Yes, everyone thinks they've got a responsibility and they've got more say in the team behind Jamie, or Jamie has a group there that he can go to, but that doesn't help when Jamie goes off with pinpointing who's in charge and who we go to make decisions.
On the positive front, he kept Marcus Smith on for 80 minutes and he wasn't able to conjure a late try to win the match. But how much have we just kind of witnessed what we should be seeing in every match from Marcus Smith? 80 minutes, leave your general on.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against George Ford, I just don't think this game lent itself to making a change at 10. Marcus was outstanding, although he didn't have much to play off in the second half, especially 60 minutes in. Whether that's his forward pack being tired and not giving him as many opportunities, I still thought he could have been more brave in playing and wanting the ball close to the South African try line. We were only 2 points behind. Remember incident with Lawrence getting smashed backwards. I thought Marcus should have wanted the ball, so there's still a bit there that I think he needs to take control. When it's fine doing it at the start of the game, and it's amazing, it's great to watch. When the pressure on and the game's in the balance and there's only a few minutes left and you're 2 points behind, I still want him to do the same at the end as what he's doing at the start of the game.
Let's talk about South Africa a little bit. I mean, just how impressive, Matt, is it that there they are, back-to-back world champions, and often after a World Cup there is a big period of transition for teams, yet they kind of seem like they've barely missed a beat, do they? Cheslin Kolbe scoring 2 tries today, Pieter-Steph du Toit's being Pieter-Steph du Toit, Eben Etzebeth, just his usual kind of presence around the field. They are a formidable force. How impressive is it that they just seem to kind of turn up and be South Africa?
Yeah, and turning up in quite a hostile environment. The crowd were properly up for today, and so were the England players. And you saw that in the opening 10 minutes when England came out of the blocks really, really fast. the crowd are up, when you're right in the middle of this field, any stadium when you're playing away from home and it's hostile, you feel it. You feel the noise. You feel the pressure. And England scoring a try, bang, straight at you. Come on then, what have you got, South Africa? We'll be at you again. And South Africa, it was like it was an insult to them. It was, they all took it personally, and you noticed there was a fire in that South African belly that was stirred up to say, right, hold on a minute. Yeah, we are the double world champions as a nation. We have got the firepower. We're going to come at you. You think you were at DEFCON 5? We can get further than that. and they outplayed England at times when England thought, say that they had a grasp of South Africa, but England at times looked like there was a bit of control and a bit of momentum that could worry South Africa. But as you mentioned, the calmness, the decision making, the precision, in amongst a little bit of harem scarum rugby, some of the precision and the individual brilliance, there is the difference. And it's very, very harsh because you're at two extremes of careers. But if you look at Colby, who at some stage in that game has thought, well, I'm going to...
Dorse, I have to just stop. Can you hold that thought? Because I just need to hear from Steve Borthwick, the England manager, because he is with Chris.
Yes, you're live in the tunnel with the England boss. Steve, I wonder how you feel this weekend compared to the last two weekends.
Yeah, I think, as with every England supporter right now, incredibly frustrated, disappointed. You see so much good. You see the way the team came out of the blocks at the start of the game and took it to South Africa. And then for a long time, that game was toe-to-toe. It was tight, and then ultimately in the last period we failed to take our opportunities. You look at how many times we were in there 22, and then how many times we failed to come away with points by, I think, mistakes that probably are responsibility. At the same time, you credit South Africa. They're arguably the best team in the world, double world champions, incredibly well coached, incredibly well organised.
You say the missed opportunities in the final 20. What do you put that down to? Is that decision making? Is that leadership? Is there anything in particular?
Well, I think there's clear. We'll have a great discussion with the players about what it is. We'll have an in-depth discussion as we always do to understand it. I think there's a little bit of composure there, and these are painful days right now. There's times we are putting ourselves in a position to win games and we're not converting them, and I'm as frustrated as all the players, as all the England supporters are. What we'll do, we'll make sure, whilst these are painful days now, we will use them as a positive way for our development.
Yeah, so the challenge is not to have these defeats knocking a bit of confidence in the direction of travel.
Yeah, I think we're very clear on where we're going as a team in terms of the transition of the way we want to play and the transition of personnel. You look, the contrast of the two teams there. I think they had 15 players in there, 23 that played the semi-final last year. There were nearly 1,200 caps. We're not quite like that. We've got a lot of young players that come into this team, and we've accelerated the transition. And as you look towards the future, I think these players are going to be brilliant internationals. But right now, these days of development, these days, they're tough right now. They're tough for the players, they're tough for the coaching, they're tough for the supporters. But what we'll do is we will persevere, and we will be better because of these experiences.
You said you know what kind of team you want to be. All the great teams seem to have a sort of clear identity. Do you think you're still finding out what the perfect identity is for this England team?
Well, I think if you looked at some of the ball movement today, I thought was exceptional. Some of their identification of space, the way the players exposed opportunity in transition, particularly in that first half. And there was a couple of opportunities in that last 20 where, especially with them down a man, there was opportunity to shift the ball, and we chose not to. And I'll need to have a good discussion with the players about why. In the first half we were shifting that ball. Second half we didn't so much, and with the opposition down a man. So we need to make sure that the players have that feeling of confidence to back their skills and to shift when the opportunity's on.
And just to finish, Steve, you gave Marcus the full 80, having moved him to fullback last week and taken him off 60 against New Zealand. Was that the thinking to sort of give Marcus a whole game to sort of run the team from number 10?
It was what the game situation is. I thought he was playing well at 10. I thought Freddie Stewart was playing well at 15, so I didn't want to change that axis as it was in the game.
Japan next?
Yeah, so we'll recover from this one. We'll have a really thorough debrief of it, and then we play Japan here back at Allianz Stadium on Sunday, and it's a game we'll be determined to put in an improved performance, take the good things that we've done and amplify them, and work on those areas that we've got to do better.
Thanks, Tom. Steve. Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, Japan next. A reunion with a certain Mr. E. Jones next weekend for England. So I can just imagine the build-up to that game is going to be fairly interesting, I would say. Chris Ashton, how is Steve? You know Steve Borthwick well. You were coached by him at Leicester. How will he be judged over this autumn? If we look at England, how will he be judged, do you think?
Good question. Because all what we said is they're not too far away. That is the real positive here, is that and physically today they were right in the game. We thought the scrum was going to be a problem. It wasn't necessarily. They're right in it. It's just some areas, it's always a different area. So that's the getting that out the system. How will he be judged? Well, he needed a win. I think he said it himself before. He needed a win against a big team. He's not done that, so he's going to come under more pressure than that. But from what I've seen and what I've watched, I do see a lot of positives. It's just nailing it all together.
Dors?
Yeah, what's he now? 13 from 27. Not great statistics.
Lost 6 of the last 7.
Six Nations is going to be the big one, isn't it? How they do.
Yeah, I think so. I think there are certainly no excuses in the Six Nations. There will be games that they should be going into those games very, very confident of winning if they're going to play to this sort of standard. There's no question about that. Even though the stats aren't great, the winning ratio isn't great. I enjoy coming to Twickenham. I'm enjoying watching this rugby. I'm never going to be a convert to performance over result, because I just, it still frustrates me to this day that I'm within minutes of the final whistle. The England players are going into the crowd and more, and getting their kids and being on the pitch and running around with their kids. I can't get my head around where they are. I know it's old school, but
what would you be doing? What would you be doing in the immediate aftermath?
I'd be in the dressing room, kicking the living daylights out of things, and you'd be sulking. And I know things are very different. Don't listen. Of course, the family is absolutely huge, very, very important. My point being, where is that killer instinct and focus that is going to be? You can see it in the likes of, particularly in New Zealand. You can see it in South Africa. You can see it in Ireland, maybe not in the current form of Ireland, but over the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen that in Ireland, where they just have this, nothing else matters, we're totally united and no one's going to put us off our stride. It is about winning. Sometimes I just feel it looks like it's about performance. And I like the way England are playing, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything unless they're winning, and that's where the Six Nation bits comes in, I suppose.
What struck me about what Steve just said was he was confused to why they didn't play more in the second half, which says to me that Steve's desperate for them to keep playing in the second half. And like I mentioned before, Marcus didn't do that for whatever reason. That is the part that really needs to get ironed out here, because there is opportunities there for them to go on and do the same thing as what they're doing in the first half, but I don't know if it's a pressure or whatever it is, they've not been able to really let the shackles off from 60 minutes off and play the same free-flowing rugby as they do in the first 20 minutes.
Do they become afraid to lose?
I mean, you could look at it and go, is Steve, we thought the New Zealand game, is Steve telling them to slow the game down and kick more?
Well, that's what you thought, because as soon as 4 came on, you just thought, well, he's told them to park the bus.
But it's not. He wants them to keep playing.
Correct.
So they've got to find a way as a team, and if Marcus is going to be the one who's leading this, he's got to be desperate to keep playing the game,
and not let the pressure or the team they're playing against or the scoreboard, whatever it is, let it get the better of him and keep wanting the ball, keep wanting to play.
That's sort of what I was talking about when I had that little chat on Harry Randall during the game. 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go. You've got to get 9 points. You know, you want your 9 and 10 to be thinking, okay, how is this possible? How is it going to happen? Everybody get on with your own jobs, but their job strategically is how are we going to manipulate our team and the opposition so that we can get close to those 9 points.
One question, because I've got to go to the news, and then we're going to head to France against New Zealand. More Autumn Nations Test match rugby here on 5 Live. If you're going to concede 5 tries against Australia and then 5 tries against the Springboks, you're not going to win Test matches, are you? So defence has got to be tightened up, hasn't it?
Yeah, and the Cheslin Kolbe try, I've been sat here watching it on replay. It's just, you can't allow England's number 8 to be run over by the South African 12, no matter how big he is. You can't have that happening. We can't have one-on-ones being missed. They were missed against Australia last week. They've been missed today, and they're not like really difficult. They're quite simple tackles, which Ben Earl makes 20 a game. But for some reason, he slipped off it tonight. And when you do that in these games, it's a try, as we saw. So it's an area that we need to get better. It's what that we saw big strides in the summer and back end of the Six Nations. So it's just slipped down. And that's part of the reason we've got another new defensive coaching, change of system. Everybody's overthinking all the time. But it's quite simple to just get your head in the right way. I mean, I never did it, Sonny, so I haven't got a clue. I just wanted to score tries.
Of course you did, and you did a lot, as Matt Dawson smiles beside you. Thanks, guys. I know you're staying here because you're going to pod with Chris Jones when he comes back up from